Lost in the Script, episode 89, Jigsaw.
Because it's a puzzle.
Oh, man.
A lot of stuff we're going to talk about. Another week. How y'all doing? Hopefully everything is well with you. Let me...
It's a dark and gloomy day.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those sluggish days. But
Very
that's kind of...
somber.
It's definitely normal up here, honestly. What up, woke folk? What up, man?
Can't wait to hear the truth.
How you doing, Rosie?
Hey, Rosie, how you doing?
What's up, Regina? Let me we gotta do something. Hold on, hold on, y'all. Okay. All right, we're back now. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get right into it. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Let me the case that finally, at least he pled guilty. He hasn't been sentenced yet. Frank James. If y'all remember last year, when was that? Was that last year? Or you? Man, it really just...
Time is flying by so fast. Can't keep up with all this stuff that's going on.
The black man, Frank James, who went to New York and allegedly threw smoke or tear gas on the train and then began to fire off his weapon. They said he shot people. But
it was
remember,
in April.
In April, okay. Now, they said he shot people and all this other stuff, but in every interview, everybody kept saying someone else told them they saw him shoot people.
But they had no footage.
We saw no footage. All the cameras just so happened to not work that day.
In the subway, remember they said that?
Yeah, the subway, all it didn't work. So now, obviously, right here, it's the NYC subway shooter pleads guilty to terrorism charges. Now, what's funny is, unlike when it first happened, all of a sudden, months later, there's video.
Somebody had the courage to pull out their cell phone and record.
All of a sudden, there's video. All we saw back then, the video, as far as we saw them running off a train with smoke. That's it.
Like this image?
Yeah, let me show the screen. This is all we saw. Them running off a train with the smoke. We didn't even hear any firearms going off. We didn't see anybody wounded. Nothing. Nope. All the people who said they saw the shooting, they said it was third party. They said somebody else saw it. All the people interviewed didn't see it. And now, right when around the time when he pleads guilty to this, new release footage and videos of the subway shooting. Now this is January 5th, 2023. Newly released videos show chaos after New York City subway shooting. Now in this, they show people laying on the ground, shot, bloodied, which somehow they didn't have this. Now this is cell phone footage, remember, that the subway cameras weren't working. In the cities of the what do they call them? The cameras around the city in that area, what was the name of the street? You forgot?
I forgot.
It was a whole bunch of coincidences with this story.
It was a lot of stuff that, yeah.
So now they have. He
threw 2 smoke grenades and fired a handgun 33 times. 33. What a coincidence.
What a coincidence. Now you see here the footage. Now they'll probably say they confiscated it. Go ahead.
It was it was on 36th Street.
Yeah, 36th
Street.
Yeah, 36.
3 6s.
Yeah. And he shot the gun 33 times. But anyway, so I guess the police confiscated the video and didn't have it released for whatever reason. But now they're releasing it. And it's cell phone footage. Now, keep in mind, what they're telling us is this man, in his old age and overweight, was able to do certain maneuvers that a man at his age and weight would not be able to do.
James is like, just because he big don't mean he can't move.
If you look up what they said he did, his age and weight would not be able to do those things. It just not happen. And then now when you look up the videos he put up on YouTube and the stuff he was saying in his history, he has a history of mental illness. He said that the psychiatrist that he was going to effed him up even worse.
How so?
Sound like a Manchurian candidate. I'm just saying, this case was strange from the get-go. Now he's pleading guilty to the terrorist charges. It is what it is.
Another MK Ultra that they decided to let
I don't think that's. I don't know if he's that type of priority, but it is what it is.
Yeah, he was. He definitely was.
All right, let me. This is another crazy case. Declines to prosecute. DA files charges against swim instructor in drowning death of 4-year-old boy. So, a swim instructor told a parent, black mother, that she don't need to stay during the instruction, during the teaching.
And the black mother decided to leave her kid there. So
she leaves, and by the time she comes back, obviously this tragic situation happens. The sheriff decided he's not going to pursue charges because, it's an accident, all this other stuff. Which it don't matter if it's an accident. Clearly somebody's at fault.
Who's at fault?
Who you think?
You saying discrimination? How's she at fault when she said she wasn't going to do it?
What?
She said she doesn't need to do that, and the mother decided to keep her kid there. I would said no. If you're not able to oversee, didn't you say that she said she doesn't need to what? Watch. I would say you watching my kid swim. If you ain't watching my kid swim, I'm
no.
taking
The mother. She told the mother you don't need to stay here.
Oh, she told the mother you don't need to stay here.
Yeah.
Oh no, she definitely need to be charged.
Prosecutor in Georgia have decided to pursue criminal charges against an instructor who oversaw a swimming lesson where a 4-year-old boy drowned in this past June.
Was this intentional?
Authorities announced that an arrest warrant has been issued for Lexi on a court of involuntary manslaughter, on account of involuntary manslaughter in the death of young Israel Scott.
And his name is Israel.
Man. According to a press release from Burke County District Attorney Office, DA Jared T. Williams instructed the Georgia Bureau of Investigation to issue a warrant for the arrest more than 6 months after Israel, or Izzy, drowned while still taking swimming lessons with the instructor.
That ancient hatred.
Oh, yeah.
That DNA,
the name just brought it out of
hereditary.
Yeah. Izzy Scott is not a case. He is not a file on the desk, nor an article in the news. He is a child whose loss has broken the heart of our community. He is a symbol of how we should cherish our little ones and hold them tight, Williams said in a statement emailed to Law and Crime. The truth is this: nothing done in a courtroom can ever repair the harm done to Izzy's family. Many have called for felony charges and lengthy prison sentences for this offense. Neither the law nor the facts support such a result. After discussing their decision, both the family and the state of Georgia are in lockstep. The aim of the prosecution, is not retribution, but accountability under the law. The decision to charge them came after months of dedicated inquiry, investigation, and legal analysis, left officials and conclude that the criminal offense contributed to Izzy's death. Izzy died on June 14th while attending swimming lessons overseen by the instructor at a private residence, according to a report from the Augusta Chronicle. Neither the pool nor the residence were owned by the instructor. So she went to someone else's house to teach the kids. See, this is where you get that legacy of, black people don't know how to swim.
I don't know how to swim.
I know how to swim,
and I'm glad I didn't have a instructor like her, because I'd be dead.
The granddaughter reportedly noticed Izzy in the deep end of the pool after the children had finished relays and were drying off, and called out to the instructor, who jumped in the pool and pulled him out. So she wasn't even paying attention to him. A 4-year-old, wow. Per the Chronicle,
like she didn't give a damn.
She did not allow the parents in the swimming area during the lessons, and Izzy's mother learned about her son's drowning while sitting outside the residence in the car, because they wouldn't have let them. She didn't allow them to sit there and watch. So while she's sitting in the car in the front, her son is about to drowning.
Why wouldn't she allow them to?
Well, I guess I don't know. I guess you say it's a distraction, or I don't know. Who knows? Another parent who was a nurse administered CPR, according to the Chronicle, and the boy was taken by ambulance to a nearby hospital where he died. The announcement reportedly came 7 months after the Burke County Sheriff's Office and prosecutors initially concluded in July that Izzy's drowning was an accident. However, even at the time, DA Williams was reported clear that any decision on potential charges would be independently of any other agency. I don't think we will read no more. The mother applauded the DA's decision in an interview with Augusta Fox affiliate.
The mother what?
She applauded the DA for filing the charges against.
Okay.
Okay, obviously, this is involuntary manslaughter. She wasn't paid, or at least neglect at some level. It's obviously neglect.
It's neglect.
What's the word they use? There's a particular word they use for neglect when it comes to leading to someone's death. The point of the matter is the fact that the sheriff immediately ruled an accident and didn't want to pursue anything from it is crazy. It's a child that you were supposed to be watching. But then I got to say, should you ever, and this is just being honest, should you ever really trust your kids?
With what?
Around them people.
Who them people? White people?
Yeah.
Hell no.
So many accidents happen. We see stories all the time where one black man or woman is around a group of white people we saw, there was a story a while ago of a woman who was at a pajama party with a group of white people and she ended up dead. Remember that story?
She what now?
She went to a pajama party with a group of her white friends and she ended up dead. And they just like, oh, she just died. We don't know we don't know.
We all love being around those people, so.
What about the black dude who went on I can't remember if he went on a hunting trip or something with a group of white people and another group of white people tried to lynch him. I think he ended up pressing charges or something. He ended up getting away. There's been multiple cases. There was another kid, a college kid, who went to go see his girlfriend. She was Caucasian. I can't remember what state, one of those southern states. He was a college athlete, prominent, looked like he was going to go to the next level. Next thing you know, he goes visit his girlfriend and they never see him again.
Sound like a sundown town.
Like, y'all, I'm just saying.
She got him good. She lured him in. Come and visit me. Strung his ass up.
Yeah, that's messed up. Oh, how you doing, Kiefer? All right, let me all right. Let me show this video here. In this video, it's sad. It says mother signs autistic son up for program to become comfortable around police. At pickup, found son on the ground handcuffed with concussion. Once again, this random stuff just happened. Like, how does that?
Okay, let me say this first. It's crazy that an autistic kid, you leave him with a police officer, and then next thing you know, they handcuffed
and got a concussion.
But at the same time, he's autistic. Why do he not feel comfortable around police officers? They normally.
Well, she said she want. I'll let her talk. Let me let her talk.
Sheila Jackson wanted her son, who has autism, to feel comfortable around police officers. Her uncle was an officer, and she has a lot of respect for what they do.
I wanted him to have a positive view of police officers and not all of the negativity that he sees on TV.
So she signed him up for the after-school tennis program at VCU, where officers from the Richmond Police Department volunteer through the Richmond Police Athletic League.
My son is interested in tennis, and this will be his second year.
But on November 3rd, Jackson showed up at the tennis courts to find her son on the ground in handcuffs.
We end up going to VCU emergency room. They diagnosed him with a TBI concussion.
Jackson said the staff at the tennis program said her son was getting frustrated while working on his serves, and they told him to practice off to the side, but she's unclear on what happened next. Her son says one of the police officers raised her voice at him and he started to walk away from her.
He knows and tries to self-regulate to walk away from the situation. She may have thought he was being defiant.
After that, Jackson says her son says the officer grabbed him.
When I got here, my son was handcuffed on the ground right behind where that fence is opened at. There was an officer holding his head. There was an officer on his left leg, someone on his right leg. There was.
Wait a minute. Even a kid, it take 3 of them to pin you down. They soft. It took 3 officers to pin this kid down.
Autistic.
This is an autistic kid who does not do well in social situations.
And they get pinned to the ground with 3 officers. Did they not know? He's autistic. It don't even matter if they did know. If he wasn't autistic, it's still like, damn.
Like, he doesn't do emotions. He don't do. It's just.
Good Lord.
There was an officer on his right side kneeling, holding his shoulders down. And then there was another officer standing up.
Jackson says Richmond police told her that her son headbutted an officer and they were worried he was going to run. But she's still not sure why he was handcuffed and what exactly happened that caused him to get a concussion.
He headbutted an officer?
Okay, how tall is he? How tall is the officer?
Did the officer get down on his
on his knees and he just headbutted him? Like, what?
Where's the picture of the officer being headbutted?
That is not how he should be dealt with.
Or maybe they mean he headbutted him in the chest or stomach or something.
No, headbutt means headbutt.
No, headbutt means I use my head to butt. I don't mean I headbutt you in the head.
I mean, not only my son, anyone. Where is the training? You know, are you just going to the training and you're not taking?
So then we, past all this, how about the fact that you took your kid to get a good experience and
now he's traumatized.
That's
so
crazy.
You should have left that shit alone. You should have just let him hang around your uncle. He's a police officer.
Yeah. By
Situation
the way,
solved.
Good point. Why not just take him to your uncle?
As a matter of fact, let him spend a day with your uncle.
If he's still around, I don't know.
Yeah.
You can just have him spend a day with your uncle. Like, and go to one of the cop friends and stuff. Like, what the hell?
No, she wanted to put him around white people.
Now, I do got to show this. This is a crazy story. I'm pretty sure y'all saw this story. Police. 6-year-old shoots teacher in Virginia classroom. Police in Virginia City and Newport News say a 6-year-old student shot and wounded a teacher, she was a female teacher, at his school during an altercation inside a first grade classroom.
Did we ever find out the ethnicity?
No.
Okay.
But I know it was a woman and a male student. First off, how you in an altercation with a 6-year-old? Like going back and forth with them. 2, did the 6-year-old brought the gun from home?
Exactly. How did a 6-year-old get a hold of a gun?
3, the 6-year-old knows how to use the gun.
If you are a parent, you need to be responsible and have your gun in a safe or a place where your kids cannot reach it or not able to access it. You can't just have your guns laying around anywhere.
But the fact that he know how to use the gun.
So maybe
he only shot one person. It wasn't no accident. You see around these places when these shootings happen, a person want to shoot this person and accidentally shoot 3 other people.
Maybe it's getting so bad out here.
Huh?
Maybe it's getting so bad out here. Parents are starting them off at an early age, training them how to shoot.
Hold on, that's not even surprised. That is true. A lot of parents, and mainly white people, obviously, they be teaching their kids, sons, and daughters how to shoot at like 5, 6, 7 years old. They giving them these little guns and stuff to try and learn how to shoot.
Maybe that's what they doing with him.
And I ain't gonna lie, when I saw this story,
you imagine
remember that story we talked about last week of the dude shooting the 13-year-old boy? He just shot him for no reason. And I was like, why the hell would you shoot a 13-year-old and say he had a gun but nobody saw it? How the hell he leave out of the house, walk out into the yard and just get shot? Then you see this story and you got a 6-year-old shooting a teacher.
2023, this is how we starting off.
I think it's been like 7, 8 mass shootings already. It's just we keep saying this every week. It's getting worse and worse.
It's getting darker and darker. Worse. It's not no light.
It's getting like nothing is a surprise anymore. When you see these headlines, you see the most wild stuff, and you're not even surprised.
No, they're trying to put the light out. They're trying to extinguish the light out on the planet. Complete darkness. There's evil people running around.
Good Lord. Hold on. I'm sorry. Hold on. Another shooting. Now, this story right here, and you know, we like to go into the conspiratorial realm. Hold on. This thing not bringing up everything again.
We just might as well give it up on the chat. It ain't meant for us to have
I
no
just
chat.
I don't get it. Anyway,
It's crazy.
I don't trust leaving my kids around anyone. Nope. Exactly. Mystery man, how you doing, man? He learned today.
Oh, you gonna learn today.
Oh, he learned something. What the fuck? Our child with autism? Exactly. The name of the school, Rich Neck, is questionable. Yeah, I saw the name, but I don't know if it's a black area or not, because I saw a few people said they from the area and on social media and they're black. I don't know if it's a black, but it's called Rich Neck. So I don't know, but yeah, I didn't want to just assume
it was a black woman
area.
and a black kid.
Yeah, I didn't want to do that, but I don't know. It's looking kind of, I don't know. Let me
sit down. Who you talking to? I'm talking to you. And then they, blah, 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 next thing you know,
yeah, it's just
I'm a bust her ass tomorrow.
Damn, you using prison terms. I'm a bust. They said that in prison. All right, another shooting that happened with French Montana and I think it's New Orleans rapper Rod 49. 10 reportedly shot outside French Montana music video shoot in Miami. Now, we know this is the music industry. When it comes to rappers getting shot, they don't, it's not a surprise ever, honestly. French Montana released a statement in the wake of last night's shooting. Last night, I was in Miami celebrating the release of my CB6 mixtape with friends at a local restaurant. He tweeted on Friday afternoon. We unfortunately were at the wrong place at the wrong time, but an accident took place and left people hurt. Our thoughts and prayers are with the victims and families at this time. The original story, rising New Orleans rapper Rod 49 is reportedly one of nearly a dozen people shot during a recent French Montana video shoot in Miami Gardens, Florida. On Thursday night, news first broke that around 10 people were shot during the South Florida video shoot featuring French Montana and Rod 49, presumably for the new collab Igloo, off French's new CB6 mixtape, according to the NBC6 South Florida reporter Ryan Nelson. The incident occurred outside of a restaurant called the Licking on Northwest 27th Street, where witnesses say multiple people were shot. Witnesses on the scene reportedly told the news outlet Rod 49 was one of the victims in the mass shooting. The severity of the injuries are unclear, according to the 7 News Miami. No fatalities have been reported. Now, keep in mind, they said that the Rod 49 dude, first they said the shooting or the altercation started with someone getting robbed. The altercation moved to this video shoot, the Licking, according to them. It started in the back and it went to the front. I don't know what happened. But they said that French Montana, during the shooting, was behind the camera. He was, I guess you could say he was directing. And the Rod 49 guy obviously wasn't. I mean, why is the rapper... I mean, maybe he's directing his own video.
Sometimes rappers do direct their own video.
Maybe he's directing his own video, but it's kind of...
Did Rod 49 die?
No, he didn't. But 10 people were shot. Renewal. Police say they responded to the location around 8 p.m. after getting a shot spotter notification. The video shoot was reportedly first taking place at a nearby KFC when the spectator was robbed. Now, they say here it started at KFC, but another article that said it started from behind the Licking restaurant. Then things reportedly moved to the restaurant where the shooting took place. Witness.
So you said 10 is what?
Renewal.
So Rob 49. 49 means its significance change, new beginning.
A new beginning.
Growth, new beginning. So is this for Rob to get big?
Well, you know, that's been going on since the 90s, where they'll have a rapper shot or even lie about them being shot in order to give them
50,
some level of clout.
Biggie.
Well, I think 50 Cent was actually shot.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, 50 Cent was actually shot.
Tupac.
I think Tupac was actually shot too. But some of these people would get shot on purpose. Hey, let's keep in mind, these record labels do not care. We know for a fact that record labels will find a rapper who rap that gangster lifestyle, take them, and they're not a gangster. They might have grew up in the suburbs. They might have grew up in a 2-parent household, nice background, whatever. They'll take that rapper, pair them with real gangsters in a certain neighborhood to give them the image and the clout. And if something happened to them, they got an insurance policy. Like, this is what's going on. Matter of fact, that's what happened with what's his name? Gunna. Gunna was paired with Young Thug. I'm not gonna say Gunna was not from the hood, but you look at old videos of him, stuff he was saying, he was clearly not a street dude. But he was paired with a street dude to give him more clout.
He getting the hell away from that.
Yeah, he getting the hell away from his ass now.
So I'm not serving real time.
These record labels will pair them with real gangsters in order to give them the image. And that's why you'll see these situations where these guys will get shot and all kind of stuff because of the environment they've been placed in, or they allow themselves to be placed in by the record labels. Witnesses say multiple people shot in front of the Licking in Miami Gardens during the French Montana video shoot. Now, another thing that they said happened, let me go down. I think it's down here. They said, yeah, right here. Police have not yet named the victims, whom were reported French Montana security guard who is said to have suffered life-threatening injuries. For his security guard, that's what happened with Floyd Mayweather and his security. I guess it's none of the talk. But in one of the articles, it pointed out that they did not have a permit. And you go, French Montana didn't have a permit to do a video? Why didn't he get a permit?
That's weird. Should have been cleared.
Why would you just pull up somewhere and just start shooting?
Because it was a setup. It was.
No, I don't want to go that far. I'm just pointing some things out.
It was a fake video.
How odd this whole situation was.
They were acting. They were playing guns and robbers.
When you look at the situation, like I was talking about earlier with the record labels, another thing you see what's happening, and this is probably the most popular situation that's going on in Chicago, some places in Philadelphia, even Detroit, where they'll take these guys who are in the streets, once again, give them a record deal, put an insurance policy on them, and let them make music that they know is going to get them killed. You got guys making music. Like I said, this is a death culture we're in. I've said it before. Pretty much the entire world worships death at this point because these dudes will make videos and songs dissing people who they gang or whatever has killed, which lead to them being killed. And then we start talking about these deaths. And we got to start talking about, well, who does this benefit? You talk about population lower. You're lowering the population of a particular demographic.
Population control.
But you're also getting access to organs.
Organ harvesting.
So now you got a situation where you got these cities that got all these shootings and all this death. What do you think happened to these bodies?
I already told you what happened in Chicago. How every weekend, y'all know
it's going to be a crazy amount of shootings, and they actually happen.
And then but particular holidays, 4th of July, and y'all don't have people out there stand by because y'all the one that's going out there doing the drive-bys.
Well, I told you, I've seen people from Chicago say that they've seen shootouts happen, and the cops will sit there and just watch it.
Because it's fellow police officers.
They're told not to interrupt a shootout. They mind their business when it's done, and somebody land on the ground. Bodies. Then they walk up and call it in. That's how they work. Now, when they remember that story of the kid who was found wrapped up in the mat at the school, and his mother, after his body was found and stuff and all this stuff, his organs was missing. And when she went to the people and said, "Where's his organs?" We don't know. Like they got lost. So now you got all these bodies. So now you got a situation where your music label is making money off of your music, and when you die, they're making more money off your music because you're dead, and they're making money off the insurance policy. The medical industry, they're getting your organs without people consenting to it. So what you alive or dead, people making money off of you. And if you don't end up dead, you end up in prison.
Pretty much.
Now you a bond to them, and they can just make money off of you that way. And we're gonna talk about this organ harvesting in a second. Hold on. I'm gonna show this video here, and then we'll move on to the organ harvesting thing. But there's been some allegations levied by Russia, and it shows how this is much bigger than people make it out to be.
That unfolded tonight.
I think 9 people got shot.
That unfolded tonight. eventually somebody got robbed for a Rolex, and then somebody got robbed for their car keys and their phone. And then after that, an hour later, in the back of the Lincoln, somebody got, I think 9 people got shot. The video shoot happened 2 locations. One was in the back of the property behind the KFC, where it was supposed to be a fake police, security, a car doing hydraulics in his truck. And then the second location is at the finger licking, where 9 people got shot, multiple people got shot.
So now they said that the robbery altercation started at the KFC and then went to, so wait, is the video shoot and the robbery was happening at the same time? The one dude said he got his watch stolen, his car keys. They were renting some dude's car. Their dog went missing. Yeah. Now let me show y'all this when we talk about this organ harvesting thing and how deep this goes. All right, blood libel. Kremlin claims organs harvested by Ukraine ends up in Israel. Now I'm showing this because this just shows that as we all know, organ harvesting is international. They'll take organs from a country, have it on the plane in a few minutes, and have it sent off to another place to hurry up and get to somebody.
They prefer black.
So blood libel. Blood libel is a historic term they use. The Israelis, or they call themselves the Jews, they have been accused of taking people's blood according to them, for hundreds of years. So stealing organs and blood is something they've been accused of for a while. Blood, that's why they call them, that's a term, they're blood suckers. So they're saying that this is Kremlin being obviously anti-Semitic, accusing us of this. So the Russian senior official argued the war in Ukraine became a profitable battlefield for black market transplantanologists in a report picked up by several Russian media outlets. In an interview with a Russian outlet, a retired Major General of Police, the ex-head of Russian Central Bureau of Interpol. Now, Interpol is an international police. That's a very high ranking, that's important. Interpol, Vladimir claimed that armed forces of Ukraine are delivered human organs harvested from the dead and wounded in the war. People who are still alive, such as Russian prisoners of war, or even Ukrainian civilians who happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. That's not even the main play. When asked about the organs he transported to, the most effective and successful workshops are located in 4 countries: Turkey, India, Israel, and South Korea.
Oh, definitely India.
Israel is also leading the field of innovative medical techniques, which is used throughout the world. The clinics of the country successfully perform organ transplant operations. The former advisors of the Interior Minister of Russia also added a large amounts of medical equipment, including containers for transporting human organs, were sent to Ukraine since the beginning of Russian invasion. Now, here's a historical look at that. Let me show this. Now, this is from 2010. 12 Israelis arrested in Ukraine for organ trafficking. This is 2010. Remember, America became really a part of what Ukraine is doing around 2014. That's when the coup happened. So before that, Israel was already being accused of being in the country and still taking people's organs.
That's their people, though. That's big Israel.
Russian TV digs up fabricated organ harvesting claim. Now, this is a older article from 2019 where they was saying how this is, obviously anti-Semitic and Russia is just, this fake stories. But the guy who was running Ukraine at the time, he was accused of being a part of that system. Organ harvest. Also, he was accused of all type of other stuff. That's why they got him up out of there, because Ukraine was considered the most corrupt place in the world. It was voted that. It was voted.
Well, we can obviously see why now.
This is 2009. Doctor admits Israeli pathologist harvested organs without consent. Now, I'm showing Israel because
they do that all the time.
In America, I say we also know that there's always missing people. Even though people don't really go missing, they're either taken
or they ran away.
But because people, I think once you're over a certain age, you can't even get lost. That's kind of you should know where you at for the most part, unless you just go to somewhere you just never been on somehow. But you got all these missing people throughout America. But you got to broaden that and think, how many people go missing in the world, quote unquote, missing every year? Remember that movie Hostel? How they started telling you in the movies how people go throughout Europe, and you got these people capturing these people to have these, you know, to kill them basically. These sadistic people who want to just, you know, commit these heinous crimes against them. But you also got situations where people just go missing when they go backpacking in Europe and stuff. And it ain't always local people be going to these countries to kidnap tourists. Yeah. What's the country? Is it Bangkok? One of those countries? The joke that people have: you wake up in Bangkok in a tub with ice and your damn kidney missing. You go to these countries and just wake up with a kidney missing. Like, what the hell what are we talking about? So the whole situation, I believe, at least, when you talk about this gun violence in America, they say that these people are shooting each other, but I believe there's some people, I'll say, helping them shoot each other. And I think they're taking these bodies internationally and taking these organs, should I say, and selling it off.
Because not everybody's an organ donor.
Oh yeah.
Some people don't donate their organs when they die.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, you've been told to get that shit off of your but I still have it on there. I'm an organ donor, so.
Mystery Man said, rap is legally the most dangerous profession out right now. Shit, I think being an entertainer is. I don't even think it's just rappers. I mean, I think anybody in entertainment is dangerous for you.
Once you sign your name
on them contracts,
you dead anyway.
Yeah.
You got an expiration date on you. I mean, and naturally, the Most High has given you an expiration date.
Yeah.
But they got an expiration date.
Yeah, they got their own for you. Yeah. Virginia said, definitely death worshiping culture. Mr. Man said he was stuffed with newspapers. Yeah, which a lot of these bodies are. They find these bodies on all over the country with no organs in them, and they'll just throw it up at some serial killer. Because now that term has came back, serial killers. They starting to use the word serial killer again.
Oh, they started up when they had that documentary on Netflix.
Yeah,
Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah, all of a sudden serial killers back in the media. That's how the media works. Possible rituals and sacrifices around equinoxes for fraternal orders to include the popo. Well, we know for a fact that police officers are a part of those orders. Matter of fact, they have their own. You look at the name of these places, it sound like Freemasonry groups. You look at these police officers when they have these, what they call them, when workers get together.
Police workshops?
No, when workers get together.
Unions?
These police unions, you look at some of the name of these police unions, it sound like masonry organizations, Freemasonry organizations. So yeah, definitely a part of it. That's a good point. When these people go missing, it ain't always some person wearing a ski mask, pulling up and throwing people in the back of a van. It's police officers. Hey, we want to talk to you.
Or they pulling you over, saying your tail light is this.
You fit the description or something like that.
Next thing you know, round your ass up and
you driving down the highway or something. A state trooper pull you over. Hey, you look familiar to somebody. Can you get your ID? Whatever. Next thing you know, your car's sitting there for 2 weeks. Everybody driving by thinking this broke down. No, you missing because that cop took your ass. And we know that's another situation. People get lost in the police system, which I don't know how. How do you pick somebody up, arrest them, put them in jail, and forget about them? But anyway.
Well, that's people who don't have a family.
Oh, they got family. They
don't give a damn.
They don't give a damn.
Well, that's terrible.
Speaking of the life of a entertainer, as I said, that's the most dangerous.
Who was removed? She was moved ritually too.
R. Kelly sold rights to his albums to AALIYAH'S family to avoid arrest over illegal marriage. Let me say this. When this story first came out, I think it was a Lifetime's documentary, Surviving R. Kelly, the final chapter. When people started writing articles about this, the first thing they were saying was R. Kelly forced AALIYAH'S family to sign.
They did.
And I was like, how he...
Y'all want the real story?
They sold her.
Just like all those other people did, like all those other parents
all
did.
those other families sold their kids to R. Kelly.
Sent their kids to concerts and shit. They sent their daughter to Aaliyah. I'm not gonna say they sought R. Kelly up because he was obviously dealing with an underage and he got what he deserved.
Yeah.
But yeah, they knew what they was doing.
They knew what his what's the word?
They knew what he liked.
Exactly. They knew what he was, his sickness. They knew what it was, and they
preyed upon it. Like, okay, you want to marry her?
Okay,
give us your first 3 albums.
No. He didn't give it to them for marrying her. He gave it to them when he got the divorce or annulled the marriage, so they wouldn't report him for the illegal marriage.
Oh,
so he paid him the hush money. Basically, I give you the rights to my first 3 albums.
Any parent that had any morals would have said no. We locking you up. Your ass going to court. But like I said, nobody is in it for morals anymore. They're in it for the money. They're in it for the bag.
As we were talking about earlier, everybody in the industry are bloodsuckers. They're vampires and vultures and gargoyles and sorcerers and witches and demons. That's what they are. You have to have a certain type of energy to even get involved in it.
I don't like talk about the dead. God bless the dead.
We want to say something.
But we know Aaliyah was being passed around in the industry. We saw her with pictures with Jay-Z. We saw her with pictures with Dame Dash. They in the same crew. Yeah. I just want them hugged up on 2 different dudes that are in the same crew.
According to people, you had R. Kelly, Dame Dash, and Jay-Z basically almost fighting over her.
Fighting over this
young girl.
That's still to be determined.
Oh, yeah. R. Kelly's CD pass continues to come to light. The final installment of Lifetime Survivor R. Kelly aired on January 2nd and 3rd and revealed the agreement Kelly made with Aaliyah's family to avoid having them press charges after he married the late singer when she was just 15. The revelations were made during Kelly's 2022 federal trial when the non-disclosure agreement he made with Aaliyah's family was used as evidence in the courtroom. The late Aaliyah was Jane Doe #1 in the trial. The docuseries highlights Aaliyah as a victim of Kelly, who was the first introduced to him when she was 14 years old, aspiring singer. Aaliyah's uncle, Barry Hankerson, introduced his niece to Kelly, who served as a lead songwriter and producer on Aaliyah's 1994 debut album, Aging Nothing But a Number.
Now look at her album, Aging Nothing But a Number. Her uncle, he was involved with this too. Exactly. He knew what R. Kelly was. Come on, everybody knew what R. Kelly was.
They knew what he was doing. At the time, there were rumors that Aaliyah, who was 15, was dating Kelly, who was 27.
And the fact that her parents had no problem with her album being named Aging Nothing But a Number. She's a 15-year-old.
Well, I will say this: in the '90s, there was some kids singing some songs they had no business singing.
Yeah, because their parents didn't go in and say no, you're not singing this.
Like there were some songs put out by teenagers or young people, and you was like, that sounds like a song a grown ass adult should be singing. But yeah, but that was even going on even before that. Honestly, the pair got married and falsified that Aaliyah's age of 18. The marriage was annulled by Aaliyah's parents on February 1995. In the docuseries, people were close to rob both R. Kelly and Aaliyah shed light on the legal agreement that was allegedly forged between Kelly and Aaliyah's family and said they wouldn't press charges against the singer if Kelly sold the rights to his first 3 albums. Then,
which is what they wanted from the beginning.
Aaliyah's family allegedly agreed to receive the financial incentive from Kelly in exchange for keeping the annulled marriage under wraps.
So what does that say about her parents?
Look, members of Aaliyah's family declined to take part in the docuseries.
Oh, I bet you they would. Because that Aaliyah name is tarnished. It ain't so sweet no more.
Mm-hmm. And what's funny is nobody's really in an uproar. No one's saying these parents need to be done.
They're not gonna say a word. That's just like here in Seattle on Aurora. The prostitutes, nothing happens to them. Yeah. It's the Johns.
Yeah, they get arrested.
That get arrested.
But isn't that considered trafficking?
What?
Them just giving your kid to this dude, knowing what he do, knowing what his sickness is, giving your kids to him, signing over rights to him like some of these parents have did. Isn't that trafficking?
It's prostituting to me.
But he went to prison for trafficking. And he was given.
So shouldn't they go? You're saying they should go to prison for trafficking?
That's trafficking.
Oh, okay.
Now I don't know. I wouldn't call that. Well, the uncle, I guess you would accuse him of it because he knew.
Who you ain't gonna call that? The parents?
Because we don't know how much I know, but we don't know how much they knew.
No, don't say we.
I don't know how much they knew.
Say you. I'm gonna say they knew.
You got to prove it in the court.
I'm gonna say they was hoeing their daughter out. That's what I'm gonna say, to get a bag. I'm gonna keep it real.
They were. Hold on.
Like the rest of them.
In my humble opinion, no coincidence that Leah plays in Queen of the Damned. Yeah, vampire, yeah. Brothers, are you guys familiar with the histories of both the incubator babies and the orphan trains? I just wonder, Hollywood, incubator babies and the orphan trains. I never heard of that. The orphan trains. Oh, you think? I mean, I'm guessing based off what you said. You're saying that they bring orphans through trains through Hollywood, throughout the country. What up, Smiley? I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, we see what that show you told us about.
Your Honor.
No, not Your Honor. American Gigolo.
Oh, yeah, that was definitely.
That's what that movie was about. Them taking these kids from poor environments and bringing them over and,
training them.
Yeah, training them to be prostitutes.
Yeah.
To the industry. To be sex kittens, to be honest.
That's the proper name for it, sex kittens.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Oh, yeah. Oh, we're going to talk about some white supremacy. Hold on. All right. Just saw this article. This was January 1st. This was New Year's. This came out.
Hit you on the first day
beginning of the year. Bam.
Black woman going in.
Column. So this is an opinion thing. White supremacy comes in all colors. 2023 will make this impossible to ignore. So if I look at this title and then I look at this picture, first thing that had to come to my mind is you're saying that Kanye West is the face of white supremacy.
Then he has on a 2024 hat.
He says he's
planning on running for president again?
Yeah, he said he's gonna run. I don't know if he will, but he said he's gonna run again. Remember he asked Trump to be his
vice president?
Vice president. That's crazy.
That's not gonna happen.
So they put Kanye West picture up there. Now look at the first thing they said was Kanye West, Nick, whatever his last name is, Herschel Walker, Kyrie Irving, and Enrique Tarrio.
I don't know who that last person is.
Enrique Tarrio is the dude who ran Proud Boys.
Oh, yeah.
The Mexican, or the Cuban, I'm sorry, who turned out to be a cop. He admitting all over the place.
Why y'all always calling every
huh?
Latino person Mexican?
Well, he was Cuban.
They're the top dog, I guess.
So Enrique is a cop. That's a cop. Kyrie Irving, what the hell make him a white supremacist? Only thing I can get from that is saying that Kyrie Irving being called an anti-Semite makes him a white supremacist. Wouldn't you? I mean, that would have made more sense if you would call Kyrie Irving a black supremacist.
Or him
or black separatist or something.
Not advocating for people to take the vaccine too. Maybe that's
how's that white supremacist? Now they'll say that he's using the extremist talking points of the quote unquote far right. But we're gonna get to that damn vaccine. We're gonna get to that vaccine. We're gonna see how far right it is at this point.
I don't talk about the vaccine.
Herschel Walker is a damn.
What's wrong with Herschel?
Would you consider Herschel Walker a white supremacist? You had to think about it.
I wouldn't consider Herschel Walker a white supremacist. He's just a traumatized person.
The Nick dude, wouldn't he be considered a? I think he's some type of Hispanic as well. But he's Spaniard, I think. Kanye West.
It was okay. The only thing she might be saying because he put those white,
the White Lives Matter shirt
T-shirts out too.
He put them out to make money. I wouldn't call any of these white supremacists. You can call them. If you feel the need to, you can call them coons or sellout, whatever you want to call them.
I'm sure the black woman writing this article is an all lives matter individual.
If 2022 was the year that George Floyd murder made us confront systematic racism, 2021 was the year that made us face right wing terrorism, and 2022 was the year that blew up our collective assumptions about what extremism looks like in the United States. Hate comes in all colors. Erica D. Smith and Anita Chabria look back and look ahead to the new year as anti-Semitic rhetoric and hate crimes continue to change our understanding of the way political turmoil crosses demographic lines. You want to talk about anti-Semitic?
Who cares? This is crazy.
Erica, you and I have been talking for a while about how people of color find their way into conspiratorial far-right movements. The first conspiracy theorist was black people. All that stuff that your grandfather, your grandmother was saying back in the 70s and 60s turned out to be true. Hey, they spying on us. Hey, they got a weapon that can shoot you with that'll give you a heart attack, the heart attack gun. Hey, I believe they're infiltrating our movements. That turned out to be true. They were called conspiracy theories back then. Last year, you wrote about Larry Elder being the black face of white supremacy when you talk radio show host ran for governor, hoping to replace Gavin Newsom. California voters overwhelmingly rejected Elder in the recall election. So were you surprised to hear Republicans of color from other states mimic his inflammatory rhetoric on the campaign trail in 2022? Not really. It's depressing, but certainly not surprising. During the recall election, I interviewed several black Republicans in California, and many of them predicted that Elder high-profile candidacy would encourage other conservatives of color to run for office. The only question was whether these conservatives would be moderate, whether they would emulate Elder with his hardline bombast and friendliness with far-right extremists, including Santa Monica native Stephen Miller. Ultimately, I think what we saw in the midterm elections last year was a mixture of both. Now, what was that guy named who debated? Remember the white guy who was going around in the suit, the dude who dressed up in a suit and called himself a white nationalist? He was married to the Russian woman. I don't think he was a part of the Proud Boys. What's his name? He interviewed Tariq. I guess you say debated or interviewed with Tariq Nasheed, I think.
Was he
or Roland Martin.
Roland Martin?
He was on Roland Martin. And he got into a debate, and he was making great points like, why don't you want to stay with your people the same way I want to stay with mine? I can't remember with Roland Martin. He actually made more sense than Roland Martin. I think it was Roland Martin he debated. I think you look it up and say Roland Martin debates white supremacists or something like that.
Richard Spencer.
Richard Spencer, that's his name.
He was a white nationalist.
And some people think he's some people think he was gay, but yeah.
He's white.
So when I saw that name Stephen Miller, it made me think of Richard Spencer. Like, that was a so-called white nationalist, and he made more sense than some of these black people who constantly was going at him and begging to be integrated. Like, why do you want to make somebody who don't want to be around you be around you? It's crazy.
Because they said God told them to go around and spread the good news.
So they start talking about Kanye West and whether or not he's white supremacist, and they talking about the White Lives shirt and the anti-Semitic stuff, which makes you white supremacist apparently, which tells you they don't understand what white supremacy is. It's not rhetoric.
I mean, it's kind of crazy for Kanye West to come out with a White Lives Matter shirt. We've already said we know he's trying to get a bag, but him being a black man and coming out with a shirt called White Lives Matter is a suspect for some people.
And what's the difference between a white person coming out with a shirt saying Black Lives Matter?
Because I don't care about them coming out with no shirt called
It's not about what you care about. So what makes... Isn't it the same?
No, because Kanye West is a black man, and I'm going to see it differently.
No, I'm not talking about from your perspective. I'm saying, isn't it the same, though?
No, they're not going to view it the same. They're going to view...
No, listen. I'm not saying they.
Oh.
I'm talking about you.
Well,
in
black
general,
people,
looking at it from not just the black perspective, but looking at it from this, like, both is weird, ain't it? Why would you want a white person walking around saying Black Lives Matter?
I don't want them walking around with
exactly. So isn't it both weird?
It's both weird.
Okay.
But in a sense of who's being harmed the most, some people would probably understand it if they're standing up for you and being for you. I don't understand it.
Yeah. I don't. I wouldn't.
Well, in Seattle, you'll see it all the time. White people with Black Lives Matter shirts on. So,
yeah, you definitely will. I remember I was on the elevator once, and an older white guy said, I was standing on the elevator. He said, "Hey, nice shoes."
Run.
I was like, okay.
That means he's gonna go take you to buy some new ones.
What? Chill out. What's that? The former Seattle Seahawk name?
Who?
The Seattle Seahawk player. The one who had a high voice. Yeah, I know. Not Richard Sherman, not Cam Chancellor, whatever his name was.
He black?
Yeah. What's his name? He wrote a book. The one who went around doing all the the SJW stuff and talking about race and stuff.
I don't know.
Anyway, he said, I read that guy's book. It's a great book. And I'm like, why are you telling me this? First off, you automatically assume I'm just this super shoehead because I'm black.
Get out of the elevator.
Then you start talking about a book some dude wrote that I'm not worried. I'm like,
you didn't care enough.
Huh?
You didn't even know he had wrote the book?
No, I knew he wrote the book. I just wasn't interested in his, I don't agree with everything he says.
His opinion.
Yeah. Kanye said slavery was a choice. Yeah, he did. Kanye also said George Bush don't care about black people.
Yeah, he did.
He did say that too. We're gonna talk about what he said. Let's talk about all the things he said. I won't. Let me say this: when the comment about Kanye West when he said slavery was a choice, I'm gonna ask this question: do you think he was talking about physical slavery or mental slavery? And I'll leave it at that.
Well, if he should have elaborated more on what he was trying to say. Sometimes I've learned that when you say stuff, you have to elaborate on it.
I just asked a question. I didn't make a statement.
Okay.
Regina said, if Richard Spencer is gay, check out Alpha Dog on Amazon Prime. All right. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying he is. I'm saying when you go to some of the comments on his videos, the other white nationalist dudes were saying that. Like anytime he debated Tariq or Roland or anybody like that, or even some white people who disagree with him, it would be white dudes in the comment section said, yeah, I hate that this guy has to be our representative. They were saying that.
Oh, shit.
They were saying that his Russian wife, by the way, he had a Russian wife at the height of the Russian, anyway, the Trump-Russian thing. But
the bots.
They were saying that she was a beard. That's what the white nationalist dudes were saying. I don't know.
They got some beards too.
All right, let me and Trevor made a fantastic point with this one. South Carolina Supreme Court becomes first top state judiciary to strike down abortion law after SCOTUS overturned Roe v. Wade.
Second gift.
Now, remember what they did with South Carolina just a few weeks ago? They said that South Carolina will be the first state to vote in the Democratic primaries instead of whatchamacallit?
Ohio.
Ohio. They said they're gonna start with the black vote since they've been the most important and vital and all the other stuff. They want diversity to start.
Your priority.
So they gave you that, and then they also said we're gonna make sure you the first state that strikes down any abortion ban.
Because you are a heavily black populated state, and we want you to keep killing your babies.
Like,
okay, thank you.
But we talking about white supremacy.
Let's go down to a Planned Parenthood, and I ain't gonna make that noise. Mama, no. It's a shame. It's not funny at all. You know, black people, sometimes we have a stick.
Dark sense of humor, man.
To get over the shit we go through. But that's pretty much what they're saying. It's sad. Very sad.
Yeah. So this is what they did. The first two things they did were let you vote first and strike down abortion in South Carolina.
They're going to give you one more thing because, you know, it always comes in threes. They're going to give you one more thing that's going to send you over the edge.
Give me one more thing.
Jimmy Moore.
Bruce family to sell beach back to LA County for $20 million months after return of oceanfront land seized nearly 100 years ago.
Only awarded to you for you to give it back to us.
So that makes me think, when they gave this land back to them and called it reparations, Gavin Newsom, now I'm believing everything he's done so far has been his setup to run for president. Because now he can say, look, I gave the Bruce's beach back to the family, and then I bought it back from them. The county bought it back from them for $20 million. We gave that family $20 million for their own property, by the way. But that's reparations. Look, I'm trying to get reparations with the committee right now, to the task force. We're going to talk about that in a second.
The Native Californians.
So it's clearly what he's doing. Now, when we talk about the family, now I would imagine more than likely the reason why they're selling is they can't afford a property tax, maybe. The land tax, I mean. Maybe they can't afford it. Now,
couldn't they have rented out the land?
They could have. They did. They have a lease for 2 years for $400,000, $417,000 a year. But I watched Tone Talks talk about it.
I knew Tone Talks was gonna talk about it.
Yeah, he was on it. Tone Talks talked about it. He made a point. He was like, "Listen, the property, the homes in that area on that beachfront, the homes are selling for $5 to $10 million. They have 3 acres, so you can only guess how many houses they can fit on that amount of land. So he's asking, how the hell how is it capped at $20 million? Now they said they did a what they call it,
an
assessment of how much it's worth,
and that's what
they said it's $20 million. And it's like,
that's
what?
Bullshit.
The minerals alone, that is worth probably about closer to 100 million and 20 million. Matter of fact, I remember a few years ago, didn't they say that before they gave it back? Or did they say 20 million then? But LA County officials said Tuesday that Bruce family will sell Bruce's Beach in the county to the county for nearly 20 million, a decision that came months after the valuable property was returned to descendants of the original owners nearly a century after it was seized. Supervisor Janice Hand, in a statement, said that nearly 20 million was the estimate value of the property. The plot is located in Manhattan Beach between 26th and 27th Streets. In the early 1900s, the prominent black family owned the property and provided Bruce's Beach guests with towels, changing rooms, snacks, and even bathing suits for rent. It was a popular spot where black people would enjoy the oceanfront. The city officials seized it when owners Willa and Charles Bruce thought through eminent domain in 1924. At the time, the city claimed they needed the property to build a park, but the land sat undeveloped for decades. After 3 years of fighting it in 1927, the Bruce's family was forced out. Hand, whose district included South Bay, advocated for the beach to be returned to the Bruce's family beginning in 2020. Liz, a spokesperson for Hand's office, said the supervisor sees this action as a form of reparations and would like to see it replicated. She hopes that Bruce's Beach is a model. Undoubtedly, there are other stories, just like Bruce's Beach, where land was improperly taken from black families and governments can return the property to the descendants of those who were wronged. In Alabama University is actually, some of that land belonged to a black people, and it was taken, and a college was built on top of it.
So what's it called? The Central Park in New York?
Yeah, but that was
black
that was
people?
quote unquote sold. They said they sold that.
Sure, they did. They ran them off.
Now they said about the handoff last year. That made me think that whole handoff thing was a PR. I think they knew they were gonna sell it then.
Yeah, they gave it to him in September of 2021.
Yeah, so they just gave it to him and said, just hold on for it. We're gonna buy it in a year or two. So the $20 million clause, the transfer agreement include a 2-year lease agreement at a rate of $413,000 each year. That agreement also includes a potential sale of the property back to the county within a certain time frame for a purchase price not to exceed $20 million.
Within a certain time frame. So if you
don't sell it to them in a certain time frame, they won't buy it? Or what? The purchase price has been confirmed by appraisals to be equivalent or less than fair market value. Now, what does that mean? Or less than fair market value. So they're saying the price is either equivalent to $20 million or this is less. They're actually getting offered less than they should.
Well, it's black people selling it.
It's appraisal. Why can't you wait? What you mean? Or less than fair market value? If you appraise it, you can say no. It's actually worth 40, 50.
We know that if it was another group that was selling the beachfront, that they would get more money.
Well, yeah. It's funny because when you look at the family, you go, damn. They just like, look, man, we got 20 million. This is reparate. Let's just get up out of here. This is the family here. I'm gonna show this picture.
Is that the grandson married to a fat white woman?
Yes, he is.
Well, they'll sell that shit. That's why y'all ain't got it. Right. When I saw this judgment,
I was like, and you brought her on stage. You brought her on the damn stage.
Blowing her fat ass right. Sorry, y'all.
Travis about to go in. And then I don't know who these two is. I don't know if they're
the grandson.
I don't know if they're descendants of them or she's. I think this is I don't know. I think the kid here has Down syndrome. So these are the descendants or people with the descendants. Obviously, I think that's his wife. But I was just like, when I saw her especially, I said, "What?"
I'm not shocked at all.
This is the people who own it. This is the black family that owned it.
We're not shocked.
So yeah, it is what it is. They got to sell it, or they decided to sell it. Let me say it like that. So at that point,
wow.
At this point, it's like when you see stories about somebody getting something back or something like that, should you even care? Or you should just move on, like see what they do first, because we don't see so many stories where there's a outrage or something, and then they get it back, or some justice gets offered, and you just go, they just renege on it.
So I see in California they upping the price.
Well, no. This is the price of the actual chair, Camilla Moore, the chair. This is what price she's saying.
Oh, now.
So she's giving a quote unquote real price.
Because I thought it was what, 2,000?
It was 200, and then you had activists asking for 350.
So now they just said what they really wanted to say, a million, which we knew that's what it was gonna be.
Chair of California's Reparation Task Force says black people are owed $1 million each. Demands black homeless are compensated for discriminatory house practices, and says the money will boost the economy.
We have to take into effect of how the economy is doing right now. Buying a house, we'll get to that later.
Mm-hmm.
Buying a house, all this stuff is too expensive.
Well, if you got the money, you can afford it. You got $1 million.
Let's think about it in the long term, though.
Well, you would imagine that at some point, if you think this economy is ever going to be stable again.
It's not going to be stable again.
And if you think it is, then yeah. At some point, you'll be good, right? Camilla Moore, chair of California's Reparation Task Force, said black homeless people should receive the most aid through compensation for slavery. Now, they're talking about slavery reparations. It ain't just the home.
And if you're black and you're homeless, you should receive the most.
The latest federal and state data shows California has more than 172,000 homeless people, with about 34 to 40% of them being black. Moore argued that the compensation would boost the economy. Economists in the task force initially recommended a $1 million payout per person, but the group will make its final recommendation in July.
Do you think homeless people should be paid the more money because they're homeless black people?
What you talking about, the housing discrimination with that?
So all of them that are homeless is due to housing discrimination. Come on now, we have to be honest.
Maybe they're saying they have certain data that says certain things.
Majority.
I'm not saying majority. I'm just saying maybe they have data that says certain things. This is literally what the whole committee is for, to find certain data. That's all it's for. The chair of California's Reparation Task Force said black people, we saw that. Speaking with Reverend Al Sharpton on MSNBC, Camilla Moore said the task force found that California's redlining housing practices targeted black Americans between 1933 and 1977 has had a direct effect on today's homeless community. Dubbing housing discrimination as one of the 5 states sanctioned atrocities against black people, the panel initially recommended the California lawmakers to the state pay up $223,000 to each black resident.
Why y'all even talking to Al Sharpton?
Moore previously said economists on the panel estimated the black California descendants of slaves were owed $1 million per person in reparations. Moore 30 noted, why you tell her age? Noted that the panel prepares for the final recommendation in July. They were weighing how to help the people they were weighing how to help the people who would need the money the most, as the panel argues the payments would go on to boost the economy. Her statements come after black activists in the community warned the state to comply with the reparations payment to avoid a serious backlash. Well, that's a threat. That they threaten people. You don't went this far. Don't renege now. Don't go back. If you go back, it's gonna be some backlash. What's y'all gonna do? Are y'all ready to pop it off, or y'all just talking tough?
They're just talking tough.
More than a member to the Reparation Task Force highlighted 5 harms California inflicting on black residents through public policies, including the harms include government taking the property, devaluation of black-owned businesses, housing discrimination, and homelessness, mass incarceration, and over-policing, and health.
No slavery.
Well, see, now, I don't know if she just got it right there, man.
No, it said she named 5, didn't she?
I don't think that's all of them. Point of the matter is now they're saying 1 million. They get one up and up.
Next thing you know, it's gonna be 2.
Nah, I think it's done now. We gonna see how. I want to see.
You really think, nigga, they just pulled up with ships, nigga?
I'm about to show this, but I want to see how far they go with that. Honestly, I'm really interested in seeing how far they go. Cause in July they're gonna get a final recommendation, so we're gonna see what the California, what the news is gonna do with it. Go in, Travis.
Wow. So now Rosie, you gonna promote? Now today you let me go in?
Rosie said, "Go in." Look at
the
all
last
those,
time it was Travis. Calm down.
He said, "Look at all those hand symbols going on in that photo." Oh, let me go back. You talking about the?
No, she must be talking about. She talking about the family.
The Bruce family.
We like a minute behind.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. Damn. What the? Even look 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Well,
we know the white woman can't do it. Her body's so big.
Well, let me say this: if they were a wealthy family back then,
they look like they boule.
As I'm about to say, the likelihood is they were boule. Now, I'm not saying all, but the likelihood, if they were a wealthy family back in the 20s and all that stuff, they probably, All right, let me show this video because people starting to get tired of these, what they call new narratives about slavery. So you got people, obviously, we showed a video last week of people saying there's no slave. There was only 25 of them.
There was only 20 slaves that landed in Virginia.
Yeah, how they're Native American, Cherokee.
You really think, nigga,
they ain't no African. Now you got people. Really, Dane Calloway started all this. When I say started all this, I mean he started saying. Wait, let me finish. He started saying things that made people feel comfortable, just being curious. Maybe saying things you thought about out loud. Because I've been hearing this for a while. The notion that you cannot tell me that these people brought 100 million people by force over the ocean on boats. That you're just not gonna convince me that 100 million people was brought over here. Cause that's the number they be using.
Well, I definitely think they resisted.
Well, no, it's not about whether or not they resisted or not. I'm saying you're not gonna tell me they brought 100 million people. You know how many
well, not everybody came. Not all of them came here to.
No. Even if they
North America,
they could go anywhere. You know how hard it would be to transfer 100 million people.
Well, how many boats did they have?
You can have all the boats you want. That's gonna take, bro. That's a lot of people. 100 million.
Yeah. Dane Calloway is just simply here to make you think.
But I'm not one of those people that say it didn't happen. Like some of these people saying it never happened. We was already
Dane
here.
Alone. We don't want no smoke with Dane.
They're like, we was already here. They just took our identity and gave it to other people. And it's like, all right, man. I'm not gonna say you wrong. I don't know.
Leave Dane alone.
All right, let me just play this video.
They just pulled up with ships, nigga, and started grabbing niggas. Niggas boarding. You really think, nigga, they just pulled up with ships, nigga, and started grabbing niggas? Niggas boarding, nigga.
Listen, we got to stop doing this. We cannot keep creating these imaginary storylines when we don't like the truths that history offers us. The brother did say one thing right, or partially right. Most slaves were not snatched off the shores of Africa, though that did happen in some cases. Most slaves were sold by Africans, and there was already a slave trade there before we arrived. Sure, it was different than what became chattel slavery in the Americas, but it was already there. They sold us. It's just that simple, and we became a new people in America. But this idea that's being insinuated that somehow the transatlantic slave trade is a hoax, I need y'all to let this go. Because y'all are killing me. And not one person.
Well, he really saying, y'all need to let this go. Y'all fucking up the bag.
Upping up the money.
Dane Calloway, when he said, Harriet Tubman was a train conductor.
Your vet responded and said, what is this going to do? What is the point of this?
And everybody was like, Portia Williams from the Real Housewives was right.
Yeah, when she said
this is the Underground Railroad.
Person has talked about this has provided any substantial evidence, but there is evidence of how the transatlantic slave trade actually worked. There is evidence of the ports in Africa where we were sold and went through. These families in Africa, they still know their history. They know that back in their lineage were slave traders. We got to stop making up storylines. And I know how this storyline continues because it's been pushed more and more lately.
It is starting to grow a little bit. And I'm going to show you since he talked about...
well, because people are starting to come into self and knowledge. Not everybody was a slave. Some people was already here.
Yeah, it was some.
They feel it in their spirit. They like, I know I wasn't brought here from there.
Now, he said right there that they know their history. I ain't gonna lie, for a long time, whenever you ask people, especially outside of America, about
particularly West Africa,
when you ask them about slavery, they would say we don't talk about that. We don't learn about that in school. This is something, we got other things to worry about. And you be like, okay.
Now I had 2 employees that came from Sierra Leone, and we know that I'm not Sierra Leone, Liberia, yeah. And we know that Black Americans went to Liberia.
Yeah.
So there's no way you can't tell me that you didn't know about slavery.
Well, that's what they say. Well, now we know why they say that is because a lot of them, they're part of tribes that were a part of the trade. So they either lie about what tribe they from when they're around Black Americans, or they say they don't know at all. Now let me show this right quick. Now this is supposedly this is in Ghana.
Did they spray paint the people or?
What you mean? Yeah, they definitely
they had that spray paint.
Darken their skin
for
whatever reason. I don't know why.
Except for them Sudanese.
Yeah, they definitely purposely darken their skin. I don't know why, but look at that.
Heaven knows how we I'll kill you. I will kill you.
They don't seem like honoring. That seems like they're making mockery and making fun. That's not no ceremony. Fuck y'all.
Damn, Trevor.
There ain't no damn ceremony honoring the victims. That seems like that's making fun.
No, it seems like they're showing the hardship.
No, it's just like those people over there who do the Santa Pete thing.
I don't think that.
I'm viewing it as the same.
So was Roots that in?
What?
Was Roots?
Roots was supposed to be a movie showing.
This is showing it.
No, no. This seems like it's making mockery. I don't like it.
You just find it.
I don't find the negative in everything.
No. I'm
clearly
negative.
stating what I see.
No. I'm not talking about negative. You just purposely viewing it that way. Come on now. Why would they mock you and then record it and put it on the internet? Okay, that sounds stupid.
Thank you for saying what I was getting ready to say.
That sounds stupid. But my point is, I don't see what you see.
Okay. You blind.
Huh?
You blind.
I will say this: Ghana definitely is trying to make themselves out to be the number one of the continent. They definitely trying to be the ones who bring in people from other countries the most.
Yeah,
they seem to be the ones who doing it the most.
They're in competition with Nigeria.
No, Nigeria I don't think they give a fuck. But Ghana's actually trying, at least, right?
Trying what?
To bring other people from the quote-unquote diaspora over.
No, they trying to build up their country. That's what they're trying to do.
Same thing, ain't it?
No, it's a difference between really wanting the people of the diaspora to return versus come back so we can get some attention to our country and build it up and be.
That's not what he said, though.
More
The
known
president
than
didn't say that.
They want to be. They just trying to be the head honcho over there. They know Nigeria is the head honcho.
No, Nigeria's got the biggest population. The point I'm making is the president of Ghana, he said something. He said, we don't expect them to come save us. Let's build it up so they will want to come. Ain't that how you supposed to build a country?
Yeah, tell me lies. Tell me sweet little lies.
Not a man lying.
Honestly, yeah, I don't believe nothing they say.
All right. Speaking of,
you let them piss on your back and tell you it's raining. I ain't doing it.
Speaking of history, Henry Louis Gates Jr. Okay, University of Consortium on Afro-Latin American Studies announced.
Why would we care?
So when you read this article, it's basically saying they're adding Afro-Latin studies into the, what you would call it, what do you call it? African American
studies. So that's going to become a curriculum.
It's not a part of it, but it exists.
So they're planning on making it a curriculum in colleges, in universities?
In this one. Let me just read this little part.
Okay.
The Afro-Latin American Research Institute and Hutchinson Center is partnering with 5 institutions to establish a university consortium of Afro-Latin American studies after receiving $1.7 million grant from Ford Foundation. Look up the Ford Foundation if you want to know how much bullshit they are part of. The consortium, which will be led by Professor Alejandro Whatever, was announced in the commencement of the Second Continental Conference of Afro-Latin American Studies on Wednesday. Partner institute hope to transfer forever a landscape of studies to the history and culture of African diaspora into Latin America. Henry Louis Gates Jr., university professor, director of the Hutchinson Center of African American Research, told the Pat crowd, many once believed that the transatlantic slave trade experience was centered in the United States, which means centered around African Americans. So when you read the rest of the article, he's basically, I thought this was for people in this country to learn the history about Afro-Latin America, Afro-Latin descendants in America, throughout the Caribbean and South America. But it's actually to teach them about their history. So apparently they saying those countries don't know they got black people that descend from slavery.
How they don't know? Look at them.
That's what he said in the article. Some of these countries don't know that they have black people and that they descend. Like what?
They make it known that Brazil has the biggest black population outside of Africa.
No, yeah, they say that, but I guess he's saying that the country don't recognize them on some level. I don't know. I don't think you're talking about just obviously Brazil. You're talking about all.
I'm just pointing out one.
Yeah, I know. So I don't know. But yeah, it's not for Americans to learn about them. It's for them to come and learn about themselves.
Oh, we know it's not for us to learn about them. For us to learn, we know it ain't for us.
It's just like this right here. I keep going back to this U.S. African summit they had, Leaders Summit. And they said something in this where this whole thing, they were talking about building up the relationship between the African diaspora, America, and African Americans. So they want the U.S. government is basically saying we're going to use African Americans to gain access to the African continent. That's pretty much what they're saying.
And that's it in a nutshell.
I ain't even going to read it. That's what they're saying. They're basically using African Americans and trying to bridge a relationship with African immigrants so that they can have access to the African continent.
Y'all should have been playing us decades ago to do that.
They should have been doing that. They should have been doing that in the early 1900s. They should have been sending black people over there to start bases. Now, I'm just saying this from a perspective of if you're going to be a ruler and conquer the world.
Well, this
is how the Romans did it. When they conquered any country, Arab, Asian, whatever, they would make those people build bases and represent them. You're not whatever you were. You're Roman now.
They waited too late to do everything.
They waited too late to integrate.
Because we're not going to
completely do it now.
What's
you
the
have
word?
A few people, but yeah. Like America, people call America a melting pot. It's not really. It's like half melted.
We're not going to conform. It's too late.
Yeah, it's too late. Black people are already calling themselves a nation. They call themselves Black American, not American.
Why would Black Americans conform to y'all when we are the pop culture of the world? It's centered around us.
Well, yeah.
Why would we conform?
You've already allowed Black Americans to build an identity within your kingdom.
In some aspects, we've gotten ahead of you.
What do you mean?
Like, the world follows trends from African Americans. They don't follow trends from
Well, you can't really say that it's to make you ahead of them because they control the media.
They control your image.
Yeah, they control your trends. They use you to create a trend. So they're kind of still having an advantage there. But I get your point. But yeah, this whole thing is about trying to get into Africa because they scared China. They'll get access to all those resources and all that money. But something they said, somebody pointed out, and I want to talk about this. They said ways to support the United Nations permanent form of people of African descent. And I immediately thought, what the hell is that? What is that for? What is that? And this is the website. If it loads, okay, it's a permanent form of people of African descent. On August 2nd, August 2021, the General Assembly adopted a resolution 75314 in which it formally operationalized the permanent form as a consultative mechanism for people of African descent and other relevant stakeholders as a platform for improving the safety and quality of life and livelihoods of people of African descent, as well as an advisory body to the Human Rights Council in line with the program of activities for the implementation of the International Decade for People of African Descent in the close coordination with existing mechanisms. So it's like a middleman with the UN. It's set up to be a middleman between quote unquote people of African descent and the UN. Why can't it just go to you directly? What's the point of creating something to be a middleman? Wait, I don't get it. It's just a way to put certain people in position to control a narrative, basically. So you get people who are of quote unquote African descent to tell the UN when something is and isn't a human rights issue. Versus the people who are saying it is, this group will be like a boule. It's like a little boule little group that they're creating, I guess. They always find a way to put somebody ahead of you that they can control, right?
Pretty much.
So now I don't even go to you. I go to this little assembly or whatever. Hey, I want to show this talking about immigration. Chicago residents protest new migrant shelter in their neighborhood, leading to delay in opening. Hold, let me show this. Virginia said an argument could be made that most, if not all, of history is based upon some victor's imagination or exaggeration. Well, yeah, history is his story. Yeah, to the victor, you choose what's true and what's not. You write the books. You write the history. It's hard to pinpoint truth with absolute truths. Kiefer said, do we need a yearly celebration for that though?
No, Ghana don't need to do that shit.
I mean, how do you feel about people going to the year of return thing? Or how do you feel about people visiting Ghana to go to the slave ports to see it, knowing that you're a tourist paying to see where your ancestors
That's mockery
were?
Too. I said I didn't like that too. I said they were trying to get a bag off of that.
We'll see if you're consistent. You would disagree with that too. Then I understand. If you're somebody who look at that as something, a bonding moment.
It ain't no damn bonding moment.
Some people do. Some people go.
It's a moment where you should get your ass whooped.
Well, you gonna turn around? They're gonna say, "See, violent African American."
Put me out again.
Virginia said, "Or their victim's interpretation or perspective about alleged events." Well, yeah, you control the history. If whoever wins control the history. The problem is when we talk about America, they're starting to lose influence. They still run everything, the West, but they're losing influence. So that's why you're starting to see more people, and it's from within. It's not from the outside. A kingdom don't fall from the outside; they fall from within first. A kingdom divided, but you're starting to see people in America or in the West looking up real history and realizing, just like the good book said gonna happen, they're gonna realize they're being told lies by their forefathers. They've been lied to. Their entire history, their foundation has been a lie. They didn't win because of great, achievements. They won because they were just conniving, backstabbing scoundrels. It's one of those things where when you make it to the top by being a sneaky, lying backstabber, it's not the same as when you do it through true triumph. Keep say, I don't like it either. Falling, what up, Falling? I don't like it either. Why y'all don't like the people? They're trying to show.
Then Duke, take your ass over there and paint some black skin on your ass, and you join them doing it. Then
why don't you like them showing the trauma? You let white people do it.
There you go. Once again, always bringing white people into a conversation. I don't want to talk about white people. I want to talk about they black asses doing that shit.
When black people in America do it, then, huh?
Black people in America do what?
Do these slavery reenactments.
Name one.
So there's a video on YouTube of black people on plantations.
That's different.
How's it different?
Because
they're literally hired
they don't
to
do
be
that
slaves.
every year.
No, they do it year round. They live there.
Well, dude, you can say whatever you want to say.
Now you don't want to. I don't
like it.
Now you want to smoke. All right.
Want to smoke with you?
No, you gonna acknowledge what I just said? There are black people in America who role play on plantations.
They can do it if they want to do it. Leave them alone.
So what about them doing it? They doing it to show the horror you went through.
They're doing
Even though I will say this.
How can they do it? We're the actual people. We have the actual lineage.
Let me say this. It is kind of crazy that they show white people doing it when they're the ones. They should have
paint that black shit on their arms and body too.
I will say that it's kind of crazy they made white people doing it instead
and show who really was doing it. They're trying to put it on the European.
Fallen said Ghana played games with the Black Wall Street elders. They would flown for 100 years old and paraded around and given honorary or real citizenship, though that don't really matter. Oh yeah. The ones from Black Wall Street. The 3 old elders who denied that money they were trying to give and wanted more. Remember, they got invited to go to Ghana, and they went out there and they put them in the garbs and paraded them around and said, but it was just like, did y'all really want to? I mean, they said they enjoyed themselves. I'm happy.
Every time
hopefully they did.
Black people go over to Ghana, they throw a damn costume on them. They made Lisa Ray a queen. Like
Roland Martin was an honorary chief.
What's his name? Boyce. They had his ass over there. Man, that's a joke.
Meek Mill just got robbed for his phone, and They have a, in Ghana, they have a.
Are they gonna react that every year? Meek Mill's getting robbed for his phone.
Hold up. In Ghana, in their government, they have somebody whose job it is. They call a diaspora something. There's a person in their government whose job it is to communicate with tourists. So when an American or whatever tourist, black tourists go over there and get robbed or lose something, it's their job to make sure they have a good experience. So you remember that? Was it Nigeria? Or was it Ghana where the dude went to the airport and he said that they were hustling him, making him pay all this money to get out of the damn airport? Was it the baby?
It was the baby.
He said he got pretty much robbed by the police.
And then what? When Kendrick Lamar went over there, they wanted him to.
No, they didn't say that to him. Somebody on Twitter said something. They were just jealous because they wanted their movies and documentaries supported, and he was in Ghana. And so I'm tired of these African Americans using Africans as a backdrop to their story. And it's like, wait, if I'm an African American, I truly believe I'm a descendant of West Africa.
That's my story.
And I go to Africa to get in connection. Shouldn't you be appreciative of that?
No, because they know.
Well, not you should be appreciated. Shouldn't you just mind your business? How about that? Instead of being mad with me.
Like Dane said, you ain't the same.
Fallen said, Afro-Latina on Twitter Spaces said there's a saying that every time they go home for holidays, it's a new story about who they are.
They be lying like hell.
So every time they go home, they black.
They're black, they're native, they were already here. Yeah, what's the story?
Regina said, agree, a kingdom falls from inside first. Kiefer said, I'm sorry, I don't need to relive that trauma. Well, see, I can agree with that because I don't watch slave movies.
When you stop?
When last time I watched a slave movie?
You said I don't. You've never seen a slave movie?
The last slave movie I saw was, easy, Django. No, I did see, what's that movie with 12 Years a Slave? I don't know which one came out first, but 12 Years a Slave and Django are the last two I saw.
Mm-hmm. Well, how many has come out since then?
What's her name? What's the woman name who's in that song? We are young.
That ain't no slave movie.
It is.
That's not.
The movie was a butterfly.
Janae Monáe.
She was in a slave movie.
That wasn't really a slave movie. That wasn't no damn slave movie.
That was a slave movie.
That was a weird. It
was trying to be a horror movie, but it was a slave movie.
You can't call it a slave movie when it's a horror movie. A slave movie is like drama. It's not the same.
They got a show out right now is it on FX? It's a slave show. It's about a black woman who has she gets sent back to slavery in her mind. She travel. Yeah, she's married. She's dating. I don't know if she's married, but she's dating a white dude. And it's
you trying to say you could be watching that or what?
No, I said that's just what's one that's on. You said when the last one. That's on right now.
I'm talking about movies, not shows.
Underground was one.
I watched Underground.
I know you
watched it too.
I ain't watched Underground.
You never saw an episode of Underground?
I did not. I was not no religious. Constantly watching.
Yes, I watched Underground. I ain't shame.
So you like slave shows?
No, it's
huh?
I like.
Yeah. Say on it. You said you said it.
Yes, I did watch Underground.
So you're not really done with slave movies and shows
season because I enjoyed the show.
And you also said it need to come back.
Yeah, it did.
And you was mad when it got canceled. So
that was 3 years ago when I said that though.
So you're not against? Oh, you're against it coming back now?
Well, I probably wouldn't watch it now.
Would you watch it or not?
I don't think I would.
You don't think?
But 3 years ago, yeah, I was hoping they would get renewed. I was hoping some network would pick them up because I thought it was a good show.
Okay.
You done? Are you finished?
All right, back to this point. We kind of went off right there. Chicago residents protest new migrant shelter in their neighborhood, leading to delay in the opening. So these people are basically saying we don't want them. Wait, where is it?
They don't want migrants in their neighborhood like they should.
They said they don't want them because what's happening is, what's her name? Lori Lightfoot. She said that she wasn't going to send the migrants to that neighborhood. It's an old school. She said she wasn't going to do it. And then next thing you know, she's trying to do it. So they protested.
They're waiting for her to.
They said send them to, it's another area called Little Something. I can't remember the name, but they said send them there with the other Hispanics, with their people. And the people in the comments were mad with her for saying their people. The white liberals were mad because a black woman said the Mexicans should go be with their people.
Why wouldn't they feel more comfortable being in the same neighborhood?
That's what she was saying. She wasn't saying go be with your people. She was saying they'll be more comfortable if they knew they were around people like their people.
They drop their ass off in the neighborhood so they can take it over. They be popping out kids, getting jobs at factories, having 5 or 6 people living in a household
Look,
till
let me
they
tell you
save up
something.
their
Growing
money.
up in our neighborhood, I've seen at least within a span of 10 years, you would see 6 to 10 Mexicans living in the house, and within 3 months, they got trucks, Ford 50, they got all type of trucks. They work at the same factory as family members.
And all the women in the household pregnant.
They work at the same factory as family members, but somehow they just got more money.
They knew what they was doing. They dropped them off in that neighborhood to take it over.
Now, we know for a fact, because the people that work there would say they were getting paid under the table, so no taxes. Imagine, that's like reparations. Don't get taxed. So they was able within a year to have a level of money that it would take black people years to get, because they were just able to stay amongst each other, get paid under the table. And within 3 months, they got trucks and stuff. Next thing you know, they're moving down the streets to the middle class homes. the suburbs, they moved within 6 months to a year. Plans to transform the elementary school into a shelter for migrants arriving in Chicago have reportedly been put on hold after residents gathered to protest on Thursday morning. Now, answer this question. If the elementary school shut down, that means that the neighborhood, the city, don't have resources. So why would you then turn around and take that school and try to turn it into a migrant center when clearly the area don't have the resources already? They can't keep the school open.
You should be trying to keep that school open, because the problem is a lot of kids not learning because the classrooms are full.
Exactly. You
Well,
got 30 students, 25
in
students into one classroom. It's hard to give each student the attention they need.
Supposed to be no more than 15.
But yeah, citizens of Chicago who reside in Woodlawn neighborhood were seen outside the elementary school advocating for the needs to be met before the city provides for others. One of the Tribune journalists shared the video and protesters on Twitter. Let me show it.
I'm here because I am a child of Woodlawn. I was born and raised in Woodlawn. And I'm speaking on behalf of the people that are here and the ones that's not here, the ones that's at work and couldn't make it here. We are very disappointed in this decision that Mayor Lightfoot has made to place these migrants in our community without our permission. Mayor Lightfoot would never pull this type of thing in anyone's neighborhood. She would not drop off a busload of Haitians in Little Village. She would not drop off a busload of black people in Chinatown. Never. She would not drop off a busload of black people up north. Never. So it's time for Mayor Lightfoot to
I'm sorry to interrupt, but black people really like ad-libbing, don't they? Black people are natural rappers. She in the background, never. She ad-libbing for.
Understand, we will no longer be disrespected by you, ma'am. Please withdraw your decision to put the migrants in our community. There's plenty of room in Little Village for their people.
See, they said Little Village, sitting in a Little Village.
I don't think there's no harm in anything she said.
I'm gonna show you the comments.
Speak to Little Village and take them over there. We're not hating on anyone, but we are loving on Woodlawn. That's right. As well, we already are struggling with the issue of fentanyl in our communities. We don't need anything else to add to the struggles that we already have. If there is a lack of resources in our community, we don't need anyone else to come in and suck those up. Right. We're tired, Miss Lightfoot. We're tired, and we will not be voting for you. Thank you. Really?
They should have never voted her ass in office. I don't know how y'all voted her ass in office.
That probably was the most strangest. That was the strangest.
Look
candidate.
at her lifestyle.
One of the strangest candidates I've ever seen. Black people. Well, not the strangest, because probably historically as somebody I'm not thinking about right now. But it's some strange. That was a strange candidate for them to vote for, Lori Lightfoot.
She probably didn't win.
I was like, Lori Lightfoot, when she came on the scene, it was like, why? How did Black Chicago, how did y'all vote for her? All right, let me show some of these comments right quick before I don't log me out of Twitter. Damn, I'm gonna log back in soon. Woodlawn. All right, Woodland or Woodlawn typo. Thanks for anyway. Let me go down. That statement is dripped with a lot of hard feelings regarding Black-Brown relations. What relations? Ain't none. If so, what are the relations? When it's up, it's up. No more disrespect by these politicians who are actively trying to ruin our communities. She sound like a straight up racist.
How?
No way. Black people can't be racist. Now they're trying to be funny.
Yeah. Sarcastic.
Yeah, just an example of one of the many problems caused by society degrading back into tribes and only see the world through racist, hyper-selfish lens.
Oh, like y'all do.
He said, wow, would this be on the front page of the papers or lead off newscasts? Of course not. So if I, as a white man, said black people moving into my neighborhood, there's plenty of room in Inglewood for their people, that'd be okay?
How many black people have moved in your neighborhood? Sir, you would have to prove that had happened for you to say that.
No, he's saying if he said that, would it be okay? And it's like, well, you already said.
You say it all the time.
LOL, always look at you made a victim when you aren't one. Don't be racist against me, but let me be racist about brown people. No surprise there. And once again, these are white liberals. We'll have a bunch of white supremacists in a chat agreeing with your speech. Maybe it's time to take a sit down and think it through. No, if somebody I disagree with agrees with me, that don't mean I'm wrong. That just means we agree on one thing. It's like, the old saying, broken clock. Broken clock right twice a day. That don't mean I agree with most of the stuff you say. If you just happen to agree with this point, it is what it is. Everyone wants to be tolerant as long as it's not in their backyard. Look at this. See the flags? So if somebody in the comment section say, everybody that's saying this, I look at their profile and their bio, and I'm not surprised by what I see. Oh, shit. So, yeah. The people don't want them there to send it draining resources from them in Chicago and
they are
Woodlawn.
That's draining resources, having a group of migrants coming to your community. They have to feed these people. Lights got to be on. Water got to be. These are resources that.
Well, that's not really research they're talking about. I think she mean if you build up this migrant center. First off, you gotta, like you said, you gotta add stuff to it, pay public utilities. You also have to bring food.
Yeah, I'm talking about food.
You have to clothe them. They got to go to school. They got kids. They got to go to school. So now the school's gonna have a higher population.
And what if they don't speak English? So now we got to bring in
people that are bilingual. We got to hire more teachers.
ESL?
I don't know. You got to bring in teachers that speak the language. So now we got to hire more people. It means we got to pay more money with more tax dollars going to the schools.
Don't let them come in that neighborhood. Fight. Y'all fighters. Don't let them do it.
Were you referencing Keke Palmer's Alice Duke? I don't think so. Do you guys watch Lovecraft? Did you guys watch? Yeah, I watched Lovecraft. I think I watched. What was it? How many episodes? Was it one season?
We watched all of Lovecraft.
No, we didn't.
Yes, we did.
I didn't. I think I only watched like 5 episodes.
Yeah, we watched Lovecraft.
We did not watch the whole season. I agree with what she's saying. Lori Lightfoot, humanoid or other species. I've been wondering for a while now. No disrespect. Legit question. Lori Lightfoot, you know what? She reminds me of Mike Zuckerberg. She comes off as kind of emotionless. Now, I did see her get into an argument one time on one of her city council meetings. And she yelled and argued. But she does have a sort of like emotionless kind of look about her. I remember somebody said she looked like Beetlejuice.
She looked like Beetlejuice. That's what she looked like.
But yeah, I don't know. Regina, tell me what you're talking about when you say Keke Palmer's Alice. What is that? I don't know. Benedict Cumberbatch's family could face legal pressure to pay reparations over historical links to Barbados slave trade, reports say. So Barbados is going after the individual. They're not just going after countries. Who was it we found out in America was had slave?
A lot of them.
Was it well, not Matt Damon? Was it Matt Damon? Was it it was something.
Was it Ben Affleck?
Yeah, Ben Affleck. That's what it was. So people go after him for reparations in America?
You would have to prove that he
definitely do. They
generational wealth through slavery. That's what you would have to prove.
If they own slaves and they own property and then led all the way to him, yeah, it's right there. The family of Oscar-nominated actor Benedict Cumberbatch faces the prospect of facing demands to pay reparations for slavery over historical links to sugar plantation in Barbados.
And not only that, you got to pay it back to whoever the family was. It's an individual thing. It's not.
They have names.
Country.
If they own slaves, they have a whatchamacallit. They have it filed on paper who it was, all that. So they'll be able to find them. The Caribbean nation of Barbados is starting to hone in on the wealthy descendants of slave owners as part of the campaign to get reparations for slavery. Barbados' National Task Force over Reparations, part of the Caribbean.
So they have a national task force?
Yeah. Part of CARICOM Reparations Commission, previously focused on seeking reparations for colonial powers and wealthy institutions that made hefty profit from slavery, the Guardian reported. Recently, however, it singled out a specific family for the first time, targeting the British Conservative MP Richard Drax over his family's ownership of a vast sugar plantation on the island. David Cummingson is Barbados' ambassador to CARICOM and deputy chairman for the state's task force, told the Guardian last month that Drax and other families could face litigation if they don't agree to pay reparations. You gonna sue them? How you gonna win that court case? Like, what's the charge against them? We're not in the righteous society where you can actually hold accountable a whole family for the actions of their forefather. If your forefather commit acts of violence and murder and robbery, and you gain the goods from him, then we should be able to get it back from you. Well, that's not how this society works. This global society say, look, they committed the crime, they ain't got nothing to do with me. They don't believe in the idea of the crimes of the forefather falls into their children. So I don't know how you would do anything with that in court unless crimes of proceeds. It is kind of a thing. Proceeds of crime is a thing in some countries. But that usually, I thought that was when you buy something from somebody, it was stolen. Or they did something criminal and gave it to you. Does that go down generations, or that just one to be? I mean, one to two. Or that go through generations? I don't know. Edward Norton discovers ancestors owned slaves. He's uncomfortable about it.
Sure he is.
Glass Onion star Edward Norton revealed Monday in a preview for PBS Finding Your Roots that his ancestors once owned slaves. Historian Henry Louis Gates Jr., who hosts the show, first made the revelation, and 53-year-old actor Metro reported. What is it like to see that? Gates Jr. asked after presenting the actor with a photo of the family of 7. The short answer is these things are uncomfortable and you should be uncomfortable with them. Everybody should be uncomfortable with it, responded the Fight Club actor. It's not a judgment on you and your own life, but it's a judgment on the history of the country. It needs to be acknowledged first and foremost, and then it needs to be contended with. When you go away from census counts and you personalize things, you're talking about possibly a husband and a wife with 5 girls, and these girls are slaves born into slavery. Gates Jr. responded, born into slavery and in slavery is perpetuity.
The Bible said it's a judgment on you too.
Yeah. Yeah, Norton said, again, when you read slaves age 8, you just want to die. Though the photo given Norton is undated, it is revealed that Norton is distantly related to James Rouse, who founded the Rouse Company, a now defunct shopping mall developer. Hey, let me say this. Henry Louis Gates be exposing people on the show. That's really what he be trying to do. He's slick proving, like, you know, he got a couple people that have been on there, especially when he invite white people. He trying to, you know, expose them a little bit. Remember when the Wayans brothers, what's his name?
Marlon.
No, the one who went on the show.
Was it Damien? Sean?
I think it was the oldest.
Keenan? The oldest is Damien. No, the oldest is Ken. Sorry.
Ken went on there, and they said they had no African DNA.
They come from Madagascar.
No, I think it said Asian.
Madagascar is a part of Africa.
I said Asian.
Oh. Well, they're, what they call them?
Asiatic black man.
Asiatic. There you go.
They said they had no African DNA.
That's why they're not funny.
Whoa. We're not. You say Damon not funny?
Damon's funny. Damon is funny.
You saying Keenan not funny?
He was funny in Low Down Dirty.
So now you just said something. You got to back foot on. You got to just back up on it immediately. You're just backtracking immediately.
I'm not backtracking immediately. They do some goofy shit. I'm gonna say it.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know how to do that in jail yet, but anyway, it's shameful and disgusting. Mississippi cuts welfare to poor nearly 90%. While sending it to Brett Favre and other connected players.
Who you saying should be in jail? Brett Favre?
Yeah, he accepted the money. He knew it was fraud.
They gave, but the state gave it to him.
I
They
ain't
should
just
be
saying-
held more accountable than he is.
I ain't saying he should only one be in jail. It's literally fraud. In Mississippi, where elected officials have a long history of praising self-sufficiency and condemning federal anti-poverty programs, a welfare scandal has exposed how millions of dollars were diverted to the rich and powerful, including pro athletes, instead of helping some of the neediest people in the nation. The misuse of welfare money rankles Nasombi Lambright Haynes, executive director of One Voice, a nonprofit that works to help economically vulnerable communities in Mississippi. It's shameful and disgusting, especially when you've been in the state where we hear discussions every year about poor people not needing resources and poor people being lazy and just needing to get up to work. The state has ranked among the poorest in the U.S. for decades, but only a fraction of its federal welfare money has been going toward direct aid to families. Instead, the Mississippi Department of Human Services allowed well-connected people to fritter away tens of millions of welfare dollars from 2016 to 2019, according to the state auditor and state and federal prosecutor. Tens of millions of dollars. Now, what's funny is this article right here changed their picture. The Hill, when I originally saw it, they changed it twice. Damn. They done changed the picture twice. So The Hill, welfare scandal sharpens contrast in long, poor Mississippi. Their original picture they had was of this woman, this picture right here. Now you'll notice when you look up this title in Google and it gives you all the articles that use that title, this woman is constantly used as the face of welfare in Mississippi. Now,
welfare queen.
When they changed the picture, The Hill, they changed the picture back to this picture. Now they don't change it again to this picture. See, when people pointed out, like, why did you use that woman in particular as your header picture?
Come on, we know why they use the woman.
All right, let me. But you don't believe he should be charged with anything?
Yeah, he should be charged, but the state is the one that gave it to him.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah, Regina, I know you're talking about that. Kiki and Alice was another antebellum story where she was dreaming backwards to avenge her slave experience. Yeah, okay, I know you're talking. Yeah, okay. I don't think I saw Alice though. I was talking about the one that
Halle Berry's in.
No.
Oh.
Janelle Monáe. Was in. Yeah, that I was talking about that show. Janelle Monáe was in a show, a movie called Antebellum. Glass Onion is a good whodunit movie. Sequel to Knives Out, also good. Okay.
You be throwing some movies out there.
Well, that's the movie that what's his name was in. The guy whose parents owned slaves. We just saw the one who was in what's it called. All right. Okay. All right. First black developed micro community taking shape in College Park. Travis got into a fizzy about this, and I was so surprised.
No, I didn't get into a fizzy about shit. I just said call them what they are. They're tiny houses.
Okay, they're tiny houses. Anyway, let me get back to it. South Park Cottage consists of 29 units under 1,000 square feet and feature full kitchen, bathroom, and living space. A new community of micro homes is starting to take shape in College Park. Growing up in Southwest Atlanta, Booker Washington didn't think home ownership was attainable for everyone. A lot of what was presented to me in Southwest Atlanta was you could live in an apartment, you worked all day, and you transitioned from apartment to apartment. Now an investor and real estate developer, Washington is a visionary behind South Park Cottage in College Park, billed as the first black developed microcommunity in the United States. I was always envisioned this is what we deserved. This is a multi-million-dollar project that got executed from crowdfunding, and that's probably more impressive than just being a black minority bill, is that we use community to build it. Situated in 3 acres near Hartsfield, Jackson, Atlanta International Airport, 29 units are under 1,000. We already know all that. Now, Travis didn't like the part that they were trying to. Now the prices they said range from. Let me show the prices right quick. The prices of these micro homes. This community is a community in demand. Owner of Kimbrough Law, the closing firm on the deal, Kimbrough said the selling prices, which range from $190,000 to $230,000, were ideal for buyers from all walks of life. We have a couple investors. We got 20-something-year-olds, part of Gen Z, millennials who never purchased a home before, and then you have people who are transplants.
Is it for black people or for all people, all walks of life?
When they say all walks of life, that means they said it. Gen Z, millennials, transplants, that's what they're saying.
Okay.
Now, for some reason, I don't know why, but Travis was so annoyed that the size of the houses.
They're tiny houses.
On a weekend, like usual, way off in the deep end.
Can't play the music. So this is just them showing themselves building on the property.
They're going from apartment to a tiny house. That's what they've deserved.
What's wrong with a tiny house?
Because why am I spending money on a tiny house when I can just save up and get a regular big house that's gonna have multiple rooms, multiple bathrooms.
This is what you start with.
This ain't no starter house. This is a tiny house. That's what it is.
You can use it as a starter house.
You can use it as a starter house, but I just think it's a waste of money for me.
Why are you so against it? I don't get it.
I'm not against it. If they want to live in a tiny house, they can live in a tiny house.
Zach Summers explains why this new way of living is attracting new home buyers and the significance behind their particular project.
And I've always envisioned that this is what we deserve.
Growing up in Southwest Atlanta, Booker Washington didn't think homeownership was attainable for everyone.
A lot of what was presented to me in Southwest Atlanta was you could live in an apartment and you worked all day and you transitioned from apartment to apartment.
Now an investor and real estate developer, Washington is the visionary behind South Park Cottages in College Park. It's the first black developed micro community in the United States.
This is a multi-million-dollar project.
Park Cottages says that
you wouldn't move it there?
No.
Why? Why wouldn't you support
Because I don't
want
to live in no tiny house.
It's black owned.
I don't give a damn about it being no black owned. It's a black owned tiny house community that I don't want to live in.
Okay, what do you got against? Okay, what do you have against tiny house?
Because I don't want to be cramped up in no small space.
How do you know it's that tiny?
I've seen tiny houses before. I used to watch them on YouTube all the time.
Okay.
And I don't want to live in no tiny house. If they are fine with paying that amount of money to go live in that tiny house, then that's them.
Okay.
Good job.
Now you're trying to do somewhat positive.
What you mean somewhat positive?
Descendant of racial terror lynching victim joins Michigan Supreme Court. You would think this would be a bigger story.
Would it?
It shouldn't be? Huh?
It should be, but we know it's not going to be. She's probably not a part of the agenda.
Kyra Harris Bolden was sworn in Sunday as the first black woman to serve in the Michigan Supreme Court in its history. Governor Gretchen Whitmer, who was sworn in on Sunday for a second term, announced in November that she would appoint Ms. Bolden to succeed retiring Justice Bridget Mary McCormick. She would bring a unique perspective to the High Court as a black woman and as new working mom that has too long been left out. Kyra is committed to fighting for justice for generations, and I know she will serve Michigan admirably, building a brighter future for her newborn daughter and all our kids. Ms. Bolden, who is 34, is also the youngest Michigan Supreme Court justice, told CNN that it was surreal to be appointed to the state's highest court. She explained that her family history drove her to attend law school in the University of Detroit Mercy School of Law. She felt a need to be part of the justice system, she said, a system that failed her family after the 1939 lynching of her great-grandfather, Jesse Lee Bond. And they're going to tell the story of her grandfather. Jesse Lee Bond was just 20-year-old when he was lynched in broad daylight on April 28, 1939. His nephew, Ron Morris, news that the white owner of a S.Y. Wilson feed store became angry at Mr. Bond because he asked for a receipt for the planting supplies he purchased. Several white men shot Mr. Bond, then took him, dragged him, castrated him, and struck him out in the Hatchie River. Two more men tried for Mr. Bond's murder were acquitted by an all-white jury. We know who did it, Mr. Morris said. They know who did it. The sheriff knew who did it. Everybody knew who did it. They covered it up. Mr. Bond's descendants include Mr. Morris, collected soil on the site where he was lynched. They are now working to install a historical marker for the mark of the grave of Shelby County's oldest black cemetery with his tombstone.
Pure evil.
He asked for a receipt.
Pure evil.
A receipt? He can't get a receipt?
All of that because he asked for a receipt.
Damn. Well, you know, it'll come back on him 10 times fold, 100 times really. Now, what's his name? Kevin McCarthy finally got voted in.
He got voted in?
Yeah, they got him in finally. 15th try, they voted him in.
Who caved in?
I mean, they like 15 caved in yesterday, and today he finally got in. Or was it yesterday? I'm sorry. So I guess you say yesterday or late yesterday. He finally got in. He is the official speaker of the House. He's a GOP speaker. Now,
They must have came out. They must have threatened a couple people.
Yeah,
and
they definitely probably
pulled
did
the fouls on their ass.
They definitely probably did some threats and stuff more than likely. But
they were so adamant he was not going to get in, and then
it's hey, 15 tries is an embarrassment. So they
so 15 turned.
No, I think most of them turned. They all had enough.
It was 20 people that was holding out.
Yeah, so I guess he needed he couldn't have no more than 4 people vote against him. He needed at least of the 20, he needed at least 16, 17. So he's able to get them. Byron Donalds emerges as GOP alternative for House Speaker. Now, this is before he got voted in. Now, when his name got floated in, they were saying how we'll vote for anybody but Kevin McCarthy. They called himself the Patriot 20. And they were saying, and they were voting for this guy here, Byron Donalds. We talked about him a few months ago. His name came up. The reaction he got was so crazy from the liberals. Now, keep in mind, I don't give a damn about either party. But when I noticed that it was a lot of these liberal white people in the comments talking crazy to this dude. Keep in mind, all they did was vote for him to be House Speaker. That's all they did, and they just started attacking the dude for no reason. Now let me show a response he had to a Democratic Congresswoman, Cori Bush. Now Cori Bush came out and say, for what it's worth, Byron Donalds is not a historic candidate for Speaker. Now keep in mind, they celebrated when the Hakeem Jeffries guy became the leader of the Democrats. They said that was historic. It was a great moment. But she said it is not a historic candidate. It is not a historic candidate for Speaker. He is a prop. Despite being black, he supports a policy agenda intent on upholding and perpetuating white supremacy. His name is in the mix. It's not progress. It's pathetic. Now keep in mind, what we just talked about earlier was we saw those 2 women having a conversation on the Washington Times, making the argument that the face of white supremacy is all colors. So it's kind of funny how she accused him of pretty much upholding white supremacy.
The face of white supremacy is black men.
That's what we get to. These people are making black men.
These people is black women.
It ain't black women. It's not just black women. Look at this. He responded, for what it's worth, nobody asked Cori Bush her opinion on the matter. Before you judge my agenda, let's have a debate over the policies and outcome. Until then, don't be a crab in the barrel. I'm going to say this. Why is it, and it is what it is.
Said, did he say crab legs?
Why is it when a black person is Republican, they're automatically attacked?
They're ostracized.
It's like, if you're a person who just don't believe in the idea of voting for a Republican, that's fine. But why is it when a black person is Republican, you automatically assume their beliefs?
Now look at her. She's a U.S. Congresswoman, nurse, activist, organizer, single mom, and pastor.
She a pastor?
She's a pastor.
Now look what his say. Liberty loving, pro-Trump, pro-Second Amendment, pro-life, husband, and father to 3 congressmen.
Husband. Single mom.
Lord. I thought she was married.
Single mom.
I could have sworn I thought she was married. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, it wasn't for long.
Now, before the vote for Speaker came out, there was a woman named Cheryl Johnson during the vote who was the acting Speaker. And it was a black woman. I'm surprised they didn't make that a story like they did when Kamala was president for a day, when Biden had COVID. And they said, oh, the first black woman to act as president. I'm surprised they didn't do that for her. She was the first black woman to act. I don't know, was it? Yeah, to act as House Speaker.
She black American. They're not giving her no attention, dude. Just like that other The other lady you talked about, another story. They don't give Black Americans attention.
All right. Now, this is another article written. And the title of this article is "The Time for a New Emancipation Proclamation." And basically this whole article, I'm not going to read it. This whole article is about how Black people may need to retake their political power and go to the GOP, the Republican Party. It talked about the history of the Republican Party, the people who are part of the Republican Party in the past, the problems they had with it even back then, how the Black people back then, the Democrats were flat out racist, but the Republicans didn't do nothing to defend anybody from racism. So you kind of was stuck in this place where you had one side that it was the opposite. The Republicans are painted as the ones who are outright racist, and the Democrats are painted as the ones who act like they care but don't really do nothing. That's how it was back then. The parties were flipped. So they're making an argument in this article. That dude's like Young Jock. Is that Young Jock?
Yes, that's Young Jock.
That ain't Young Jock.
That's Young Jock.
What the? I just got it. But yeah, so they basically made an argument that we should go back to the Republican Party. If you're a person who is an active voter, would you agree with that?
I'm not necessarily going to promote people to go to the Republican Party.
You promoted people to vote for
I'm telling
Herschel
people
Walker?
to vote for what's in their best interest. If
You told
you're a
them to vote for
voter,
you told them to vote for Herschel Walker.
the Democratic Party has
now you
done
wanna acknowledge
nothing
that.
for you.
You don't want to acknowledge Herschel Walker now.
So, yeah, maybe it's time you create your own party.
That was the Republican Party, wasn't it? The Workers' Party.
Well,
back
it's
then.
no longer their party anymore. So
You can make it your party.
just like you did that one. You got to make another one.
If I say you can make it your party.
Make the Republican Party your party.
Yeah.
So you want to be in a party with a bunch of people that, okay, do what you got to do.
You do the same thing with the damn with the Democrats. Damar Hamlin's breathing tube is out, and he told Teen "Love you boys" via video. Buffalo Bill said, "We're gonna talk about this because it's the lid is blowing off at this point. This is probably gonna be the last segment too. The lid is blowing off at this point. It done popped off. All last year and the year before, we saw stories of soccer players just passing out on the field, like out of nowhere, having heart attacks, all this kind of crazy stuff. And in America, it wasn't really a story because we didn't see it. We didn't see during a live game on Monday night somebody just dropping to their back.
Well, it's happened.
Needing to be resuscitated. You're right. Now it's happened. Now it's a story. And I know the rest of the world, because I know they hate it. America is still like the most prominent. They make stuff pop. If it happened in America, it's relevant. If it don't happen in America, tough luck. It's gonna be tough for people to care. But this guy, unfortunately, he's 24-year-old. They called it cardiac arrest, which is heart attack, at 24. And now keep in mind, this is an NFL player. These are some of the most fit people in the country, hell, in the world.
And they stay getting physical, so
they get physicals all the time. They're trained to work on their body constantly. Their stamina, their health is important. And this dude dropped in the middle of in the third quarter of a game or fourth quarter, I can't remember, with a heart attack, or I'll say this, cardiac arrest. And we got to ask the question, because a whole bunch of stories is popping up. I'm not gonna read this article, but a whole bunch of stories is popping up of people just having heart problems. And it's a rise that happened. I think it's in the UK. They said 800 people more a week is dying. More than normal. 800 more than normal.
What's it called? Sudden death syndrome.
And I'm about to get to it. This thing that they said have been around since 1917, they said. Sudden adult death syndrome. Just suddenly, people just drop dead for no reason. Seymour. Look at this.
Little Shop of Horror.
This dude right here, DC Drano, he said, "Today I received a message from a former NFL player." Now, this might be a lie. He might just be lying. So many current and former players are scared of what the something is doing to their friends and not allowed to discuss it publicly. I promised him I would be his voice, but my God, what is happening to us, this is horrible. Now, he said this is an NFL player who said this. He said, "If I die suddenly from a heart attack or drop dead, I 100% believe it was from I received in 2021. I want you to be my voice and fight for me if I somehow pass. This may seem extreme, but recently I had more than a few people I've known to be healthy individuals just drop out of nowhere with no explanation. Being a common thing they all had in common. That sudden death syndrome is a mug, boy. You don't know what's going to happen.
You don't?
Amid low demand, global coronavirus set to slow in 2023. Now, this article is basically saying that they don't expect people to make as many purchases of the shot in 2023.
Because people are no longer taking them.
Because people are getting scared.
Well, if you already took one, I mean...
I won't say, look, I'm praying for people. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, they on your prayer list?
They on my prayer list. Thread. Now, it's not funny. I'm serious. It's, Thread. A collection of people who have wished death, jail, made fun of, or called crazy, or simply pushed the whatever on the unvaxxed are now all dead and cooked. Let me go through this list. Bodybuilder and fitness author Doug Brigano has passed at 63 years old. Now you think he's 63?
October.
You say he was 63. He's kind of old, but he was fitness bodybuilder.
But people who are fit do pass away.
That's true. I have enough confidence in the vax based on my research to get it done. Those who think that it kills can use me as a test. If I die, you were right. If I don't die, you have no ill effects. You were wrong and should admit it, at least to yourselves. Better yet, you should admit that you were misled and tell the world who misled you, so other people can benefit by avoiding these fearmongers.
Were we misled, sir? Oh, he ain't here.
Now, he said that on April 4th, 2021. He was gone December 14th, 2022.
He didn't even make it a year.
It's a year. He made it 2021.
Oh, he made it a little past a year. Year and a couple
So we can
months.
say it may not be connected. He might just have been a 63-year-old man who passed away. It may not be connected.
But most people started getting it in 2021.
Let's move on. Uchiha, this dude here, NFL player. Okay, so let's get the vaccine mandates and vaccine passports up and running ASAP. We seeing children die daily from the unvaccinated. Selfishness. Pregnant women are at risk too. Protect life. Mandate the vaccine. Jail anyone who refuses to protect life.
Now you lying like hell. Children was not out here just... No, they weren't.
Former Jaguars guard died at age 38 after he was found unresponsive in his wife Indiana home last week. Authorities said he can tell the preliminary causes as acute heart failure.
Are you there?
Another one. I would argue that it does kill some of the right people. The anti-vaxxers masks are dying in legions. But yes, it's a real shame about Kara Kavanaugh. Now, she was supporting it. And best-selling author died at 49. The 1st of November, she made that comment in. We already know the date. Oh, look. Exactly 13 months. 13 months.
Y'all got an expiration date on your ass.
So 1 year, a little over a year. So obviously, I'm not going to go through all these. As you can see, he went through. This dude went back and found. Look at this. Come on, people. We got to get over this. Huh?
February 2021.
Yeah.
He must have got it around June, July.
And he passed away. They don't tell the month.
Dang.
I'm not saying this is connected. I'm just saying
it's a coincidence.
It's a coincidence. So
you know us conspiracy theories.
This dude got a huge list. I didn't know he passed. I didn't even know he was dead.
Problem child.
Wow. I didn't even know he was dead.
He has an iconic acting voice.
Yeah, Brandy. Remember Brandy was in the hospital?
She has not passed away. It's sick that you hope something like that would happen to Brandy.
Here's a new story. This just happened. This actually just happened. That's why we didn't know about it. Tristan Thompson, he said how, it's no joke and you need to get it. And then, I think that it happened a couple of days ago.
Oh, it wasn't him. It was his mom.
It was his mom, yeah.
So he didn't take the vaccine. He was just promoting it.
I think he took it. They said, they said he took it.
We'll wait. See if he
it.
pop up on the list.
All right. I'm probably going to edit this shit out too.
Edit what out?
All this we talking about.
Why?
I don't know. Something saying, But yeah, well, we ain't really saying nothing. And now this whole page right here, it's called Die Suddenly. And now keep in mind, I'm pretty sure this thing has 67,000 followers.
And now it's at
218. I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping. Now
people subscribe because of the misinformation. I agree with it.
Yeah, this is misinformation. So he went down the list. Yeah, he just passed away. So they went down the list. Teen dies after medical emergency. 16-year-old student at Las Vegas school dies after medical emergency during flag football game.
Don't run.
Good Lord.
Y'all gotta be put on bed rest.
It's
real. Shit is real.
That's all I'm gonna say. Do you guys have a Cash App? No, we don't have one. Tommy, do you remember Hank Gathers, who played college basketball, did the same and died on the court, if I remember? Oh yeah. So we did have one already on college basketball, but I guess it meant more when it's on like Monday Night Football. I think I remember who you talking about, Hank Gathers. I think I remember that. Coincidence? Huh?
Did you read?
Yeah, I read that. Lemonade is also in Glass Onion. I swear these rotating characters both on and off the screen. Tiny house, van life, all interesting. Hubby agrees with Travis. Hell no.
Damn right.
Roger said, I think that's an excellent idea. Why save money in rent when you can save money in paying a mortgage to own?
But the house is small. I think you should save your money up to get a house that you plan on it being your forever home. That tiny home is not going to be your forever home because you're going to have kids. Kids, you know what? Black kids is tired of sleeping on the damn couch, tired of sleeping on the damn floor. They would like to have their own room.
Oh, look, I'm not going to show all this because, you know how YouTube is. I'm just going to run down through some of this. It says Pfizer's history of fraud, corruption, and using Nigerian children as human guinea pigs. So when you go through this, they talk about all the fraud they went through. As you can see, in 1992, they had to pay $165 million because of some over 600 deaths. That's since 2012 at least have resulted in 663 deaths.
663
for lawsuits. In 94, they had to pay $10 million to the Justice Department. Claims that the company lied to get federal approval for a mechanical heart valve that has fractured, killing hundreds of patients worldwide. Then they had to pay $9 million for a monitor, $9 million in coming years to monitor patients who received this device at Veterans Administration hospitals or pay for its removal. You about to say?
This is the Pfizer files.
In 96, they had to pay. Administered an experimental drug on 200 children in Nigeria, but never told the parents that the children were subjects to an experiment. 11 of the children died, and many others suffered side effects such as brain damage and organ failure. A report by a Nigerian health administrator concluded the experiment was an illegal trial of an unregistered drug, a clear case of exploitation of the ignorant. Pfizer did not obtain consent and inform patients that they were the subjects of an experiment, not the recipients of an approved drug. 2002, they had to pay $49 million to settle allegations that the drug company defrauded. Now, how many times did they have to pay for lying to the government? This is already 3 times. They lied to the federal government 3 times to have to pay settlements, and we still okay. In 2004, they had to pay guilty of 2 felonies. So Pfizer is a felon. The company is a felon company. They committed crimes.
Where does Pfizer come from?
Then all this time I never looked at what it's based. I think it's based in America.
I thought it was based in Israel.
Look at that right quick. For $430 million in penalties and settled charges that it fraudulently promoted a drug for unapproved uses. Well, I lied again. 2008. And it just keep going. 2009, they had to pay $2 billion, the largest healthcare fraud settlement and the largest criminal fine ever imposed in the United States. Pfizer pled guilty to misbranding the painkillers Bextra with intent to defraud or mislead, promoting the drug to treat acute pain at doses the FDA had previously deemed dangerously high. 2009.
Okay.
What?
It's located in Manhattan, New York.
Uh-huh.
Guess who? One of the people that are the shareholders? BlackRock.
Well, you already know. We already talked about how BlackRock run. They own everything.
And you know the other people are Jewish. Yeah.
Or at least they have stake in everything. 2010.
You guess who is a subsidiary of Pfizer?
What?
It's on my tongue. That's the people that do the fertilizer, ain't it?
What's that? Monsanto?
Yeah. Ain't that the people that do the fertilizer?
I feel like I remember that name. I don't know. I feel like I remember that name though. But yeah, Pfizer done business and shit. Now there's another video I want to show.
Yeah, agriculture.
Okay. Now this guy says hospitals were given 20% bonus for the federal government for prescribing remdesivir and denied the right to prescribe vitamin C for COVID.
Alone. Vitamin C, my hospital would not allow me to use vitamin C. We're talking about basic, safe drugs. And it's an outrage. What they wanted me to use was remdesivir. Where remdesivir we know, and this is not controversial, we know according to the WHO, remdesivir increases your risk of kidney failure 20-fold. Remdesivir will increase your risk of developing renal failure 20-fold. It increases your risk of dying by about 4%. It has no place in medicine, yet the federal government will give hospitals a 20% bonus on the entire hospital bill if you prescribe this toxic medicine.
Now they also went on to say, remember, I think it was 2020. They were talking about certain medicines being given to people and it may have been causing harm and not giving them the medicine that would have helped them. And that happened with what's the guy's name who was running what we doing? Just plug it in.
I still can't hear.
It'll kick in. What's the guy's name? What's the guy? Kumo. He was doing it. And they said they would give you more. They would give you money if you gave them certain things. The death traps they were sending old people to in those old folks' home. Let them get sick, then send them in and keep them there. Don't send them to the hospital. Keep them there amongst the other older people. So this is the whistleblower who came out and filed a lawsuit. I think she filed this lawsuit in 2020, but apparently, so the media has not covered this lawsuit at all. We can't really get into it, but 2023 might be the year when it really it really gets shown.
Don't say it. No more predictions. Every time you make a prediction,
I'm just saying. It's not a prediction. It's speculating. There's nothing wrong with speculating.
Okay,
something can happen. You know. There's nothing wrong with it. You still can't hear?
No, I can hear now.
Okay. I'm not even gonna show it like you said because YouTube.
Leave the articles in the description.
Yeah. Those are not articles though. So, U.S. government. Now this is 2020. This is January 4th, 2023. U.S. government approves the use of the world's first vaccine for honeybees. Hopes of a new weapon against diseases that routinely ravage colonies that are relied upon for food pollination. They need a vaccine for bees? Jesus Christ.
Or they're putting something in the bees to fertilize stuff that's going to cause. So that's like you taking the vaccine.
Damn, they use the bees to pollinate the stuff with the
vaccine.
And now
Ain't
when
that
you
shit crazy?
Put it in your food system.
Don't drink, don't eat no honey. And I like honey too.
The pollination going to affect more than honey. But yeah,
that's just one of the things. Sometimes I prefer to put honey over syrup on waffles and pancakes. Well, damn, you have to give up everything pretty soon.
Yeah,
you're gonna have to make everything from scratch, bread, everything.
I mean, are we not already there?
I do. Do you?
Everything from scratch? No. Because most of the ingredients you use is fake. GMO and shit. So
what ingredients are used as fake?
Everything fake in America. This is America. You ever looked at a food in America and then you go on YouTube or some video on the internet and the food look totally different? It's a different color, different
the
shape.
Chickens be
skinny. The eggs
be
different
really
color.
bright. No, they be dark. Because in Asia, their eggs are very dark.
Yeah.
Yellow.
Yeah, because yours ain't real.
Well, we comparing to Asia.
Oh yeah.
That's not a good. That
country
country's not a good comparison.
Yeah, but
they tried to light ice cream on fire and the shit wouldn't melt. So that's not a good
ice cream
comparison.
don't melt. Like what? Look at this. Looking to watch porn in Louisiana? Expect a hand over your ID. Look, man.
Good. Good.
On websites showcasing adult-only content, verifying your age by typing your birthday and clicking go is deemed a simple process. But in Louisiana, that's no longer the case. On January 1st, 2023, people in Louisiana will need to present proof of their age, such as a government-issued ID, to focus and view pornographic websites like Pornhub, YouPorn, and RedTube.
It's going to save minds.
The controversial law... Huh?
It's a good they did that. It's going to save your mind.
The controversial law known as Act 440 requires adult websites to screen their visitors using reasonable age verification. The new law applies to any websites whose content is at least 33.3% pornographic material that is harmful to minors. Twitter?
That's why I don't have a Twitter. That's exactly why I don't have a Twitter.
What else? Most of those websites. At this point,
World Star every now and again have something on a little lewd.
They typically don't go too lewd.
But
not like they used
Twitter,
to. Old World Star,
Twitter is out there.
Yeah. Harmful to minors according to the bill signed June. The law doesn't specify how 33.3% could be calculated. Any commercial entity that knowingly and intentionally publishes and distributes material harmful to minors on the internet from a website that contains a substantial portion or such material shall be held liable if the entity fails to perform reasonable age verification methods to verify the age of individuals attempting to access the material. So they're holding the website accountable, not the people.
Yeah, the website should be held accountable.
Okay. Louisiana Governor John Bel Edwards' office did not immediately respond to NPR's request for comment on how those without a valid driver's license or other government issue ID can access porn in Louisiana. Representative at Pornhub, YouPorn, and RedTube did not immediately respond to NPR's request for comment on Louisiana's new law. Now they talking about this. Does this affect online privacy?
For people under the age of 18? No, you don't have no damn privacy.
I think they were talking about the adults.
Your hands will be kept to yourself.
Look at this. Somebody showed proof. They went straight to the website.
Good.
They're not lying.
Keep your hands in your pockets.
So as you can see here, it says Louisiana law now requires us to put in place a process for verifying the age of users who connected to the site from Louisiana. The privacy and security of Pornhub community is our priority, and we thank you for your cooperation.
That's wonderful. It ruins your mind. It's just garbage.
I was thinking for a second if they were going to criminalize the people. Would people really risk their freedom?
Yes, they would. They would risk it all.
Now let's talk about, since you brought up how it affects the mind negatively.
It does.
It does stuff like this. Ex-deputy Dennis Perkins pleads guilty in sex crimes in Livingston Parish. Now that's
natural for them.
Remember, this is the story of a few months ago where the guy and his wife, who's a teacher, served children cupcakes laced with his material. We'll say it like that.
Semen.
He got 100 years in prison. Now, that's not the only crime he committed. He also was accused of messing with young girls and recording it, and the wife was a part of it. Now, because the wife worked with the police, he got 100 years, she got 41. And I'm still thinking, like, why didn't she get 100 too? Like, she served them to the kids.
She was trafficking. She actually delivered the cupcakes and brought them to the school.
Yep. Now look at it. It said another woman, Melanie Curtin, received a life sentence last year after a jury found her guilty of helping her ex-deputy rape and film the unconscious woman in 2014. Dennis Perkins was the final defendant and have his case resolved in the sex crimes probe. Just sick people. And this is another thing that's going on right now too. Trans age activists now claim age is a social construct, just like we predicted would happen.
We knew this is for the pedophiles. We knew what was coming. I'm not 5 years old. I feel like I'm 18. A 5-year-old telling you that, like they busting them with the guns in school.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're gonna be saying, "I'm not 5. I'm 30 years old."
We originally told the transgender people just wanted to accept in society in whatever bathroom they choose. Next, we were told that males who consider themselves to be trans, like collegiate swimmer Leah Thomas, simply wanted to compete in women's sports. We now arrived at the point where we're called bigots and transphobes if we don't agree that men can get their periods and get pregnant too. As the transgender craze got more irrational, many of us were left wondering what was next. We speculated that at some point in the future, people would claim that they were trans age. It looks like that moment has arrived earlier than expected.
You know somebody has a mental illness when they said they get periods and they're male. That's a mental illness.
But we supposed to act like these are normal
It's
people.
that time of the month. I'm getting cramps. Nigga, did somebody kick you in your butt? That's why you got cramps.
Trans age people have no intent on trivializing age regression. Now, this is the person who's pushing it. Look at the name. Age dysphoria. Like gender dysphoria, age dysphoria. Trans age people have no intent on trivializing age regression. In fact, many trans age people are also age regressors. Age regression is a mental reversion to your younger age. Trans age reflects on long-term incursions between one's age identity and their chrono age.
I'm not as old as I am. I'm 14 years old. Is the government gonna take care of me?
Oh yeah.
Now, let's have people start saying, "No, I'm not 30-something years old. I'm
16.
I'm actually 10."
Put me in an orphanage.
Put me in an orphanage or foster home.
They're similar. Yeah, you're gonna adopt me. You can
All
adopt
these
an
homeless
adult.
people go down there and say,
You can't adopt
"You're not
an adult,
your age. You a kid," and see what they do.
They are similar in some ways. Both involve identifying mentally as an age other than one's chronological age, socially presenting as an age identity, and both can relate to age dysphoria. Yes, some aggressors, even some age players, Jesus Christ, experience age dysphoria too. So they went through and explained.
Came up with a definition for this bullshit,
bro. Trans age people exist and we are valid. We are not trivializing and invalidating anyone simply by being ourselves. We are not trolls. We are not predators. We simply want to live life as an authentic self.
Yeah, you're going to live
be
life.
accepted and be free from harassment over who we are as people.
You need to live life in an asylum. That's where you need to live life. They need to lock your ass up, fry your damn brain until you come back to your damn common sense. That's what need to happen.
Did you guys watch the movie Died Suddenly on Rumble? No, I didn't watch it yet. I'm gonna watch it. I didn't know it was a movie. I thought it was just a. That's why I grew so fast. I thought it was just a Twitter page keeping track of the what's it called, but it's a movie on Rumble. So it's probably they talk about the COVID situation and do a documentary on it. I'm gonna watch it. Virginia said, "Have a strong end, everybody, versus a weak one. Peace." All right, she said, "My son,
GMOs,
Monsanto GMOs."
Damn.
Maybe the government will use her for future trafficking skills like they do with hackers. These stories. Yeah, it's crazy. All right, gonna run through these last ones. We almost done. And we talk about the fact that how they're making people have to, in Louisiana at least, they're making people have to show their proof of age in order to watch that.
Did you just see that on the? I'm not gonna tell you what was on the screen.
What? What?
No, I'm just being dramatic.
Oh.
It was something on the screen. I'm just not gonna say what it was.
What was it?
Because I don't want to say it. I'll tell you after.
But Rabbi explains the importance of sucking a boy after circumcision. Now, last week we talked about when we just talked about how Louisiana is making it where you have to prove your age in order to watch those certain porn sites. Well, we got to talk about who owned the porn industry. It is, for the most part, most people that own it are of Jewish descent. Now, we're going to show this video here of a rabbi talking about their ritual with circumcision.
In the halakha, in Yeridea, that's the second section of the 4 sections of halacha called the Shulchan Aruch, the set table. In chapter 266, halacha 3, 4, 5, and 6, he describes how the circumcision is to be done. He says after the cutting, the mohel does what is called mitzitza, and mitzitza means to suck, and it means doing so with his mouth. And one could say, well, why can't you use a tube? Well, you could, technically, but it's not the custom as to how it was done. Now, why is it that way? Well, you could say that in the olden days you didn't have tubes. Now you can have tubes. So
this man said it's part of their custom after they give a child, a young boy, a circumcision, to suck on it, to suck the blood off. And there are American laws that are influenced by this demographic of people. Now, we showed this video yesterday. I'm not going to show all of them. I just want to show one like 10-second part. Where this dude pointed out what happened in Germany and who ran the industry there.
But also made what's called until this day. Before that, we're talking about years before. Rule number 1, no more pornography. No more.
Now, he said this is what Hitler did in Germany.
Homosexuality, none of that garbage. Not allowed. Berlin, in the 30s, in the 20s, was the Sodom and Gomorrah of the day. They were the Las Vegas of the day. They were the Sodom and Gomorrah of the day. Homosexuality, pornography, all the bestiality, all the garbage of the world, that was the capital of the world. He outlawed it. You're no longer allowed, closed all the bars, all the gay clubs, all the production, which were all run by Jewish people. Unfortunately.
Now, he said it.
He said it.
Look at this. Speaking of the children, Attorney General Denise George has been terminated. So this woman out of the Virgin Islands, she was the Attorney General. She filed a lawsuit against J.P. Morgan, and the governor fired her immediately.
You know who told them to fire her?
Now, the reason why the reason why she was suing J.P. Morgan is she was suing him about Jeffrey Epstein. Attorney General Denise George was terminated on Saturday after serving for 4 years with the Bryan administration. The consortium can confirm the decision by Governor Albert to fire AG came just days after Bloomberg News revealed that Ms. George, in her capacity of Attorney General, had filed a lawsuit against J.P. Morgan Chase, the largest bank in the United States and the world's largest bank by market capitalization, without first informing Governor Bryan as such major action, said a person with knowledge of the matter. The lawsuit claims J.P. Morgan Chase facilitated convicted felon Jeffrey Epstein abuse of women and girls, alleging that the bank should have known that Epstein's illegal activity and part of its anti-money laundering procedures should have reported their client to authorities. George accused the bank of turning a blind eye to the sex trafficking operation that went on in Epstein's private island and a U.S. VI Little St. James. J.P. Morgan, as of Thursday, had not yet commented on the lawsuit. However, reports from the source to the Guardian newspaper are that the disgraced financier's relationship with the bank ended long before his ongoing misconduct became known.
Oh, that's bullshit.
They fired her.
All they do is tell lies.
He fired her. So that tells me, because they said the reason why he fired her because she didn't tell him first. They tell me she did tell you, and you told her to back off.
And she did it anyway.
And she said, "I'm not backing off.
I'm gonna do it. Don't do it."
She tried to stand on something, but hey, we'll see what comes from after now it's been made public. I'm not even gonna show that this is children at another. At this point, it's just,
the parents are allowing it.
Yeah, the parents are going to these drag things
because that's what the parents are into.
That too. And look at this. This is the final story we're gonna talk about. The Joker gets pregnant and has a son in a bizarre new DC comic.
Finished. Finished.
Superman can change time by flying around the Earth and mucking with planets' orbit. Wonder Woman flies in an invisible plane. A male supervillain can get pregnant and give birth to a child somehow. Record scratch. Wait, what? The last one exactly in DC's most recent release is one of the first DC comics for 2023. In the latest issue of The Joker, the man who stopped laughing, the iconic Batman villain falls pregnant despite not having a womb or ovaries. Also, it's not a comment on transgender pregnancies.
Well, that proves the point that the Joker is paying.
Yeah, and it also, when they did it with Schwarzenegger.
And what?
Remember that movie he was pregnant? Schwarzenegger, remember?
What movie?
I forgot the name of the movie. Schwarzenegger played a pregnant man. Arnold Schwarzenegger. So they've been doing that, putting men on TV acting like they pregnant. So it's not new. But that's the society we live in now. You got Louisiana trying to do something. And it's funny because Louisiana did that, and it's southern red states that are the most active users on these porn sites.
Conservatives.
It's conservative states, southern states that are the most active. So it was a conservative southern state that tried to do.
They're like, we're trying to get
something
back under the Most High's grace, and it's like, y'all, it's been done for about a couple years now. We're under judgment. Ain't no going back.
It's over.
So we done.
Oh. Okay. All right. I think we've held y'all long enough.
Thanks for viewing the channel.
We had a lot of stuff to talk about today.
Hope y'all have a great weekend.
Yeah, hold on. Let me the hell? Okay. All right. Yeah, man, we was able to do a nice little show today. Talk about a lot of stuff. Went through it. I'll make sure I upload some more shorts and clips this week. We'll try to anyway. But thank you for staying this long. If you're still here, really appreciate the support. Be sure to like it. Be sure to share it if you can. Comment if you can. Well, you can't comment if you like. You're going to come back and just...
Yeah, because not everybody stayed to watch the whole video.
Okay.
Some people left.
All right. Be sure to like it.
George didn't show up today.
Be sure to like it on your way out.
And neither did Brandon.
Well, hey, people busy, man.
Scared them all.
They'll probably... if they watch it on the replay, shout out to y'all. But anyway, man, you already said what you want to say?
Yeah, I've said what I said.
Okay. And thanks for viewing it. Y'all be safe. All praise to the Most High. And peace, man.
Thank you.